Chapter 172. Sa San's suggestion was rejected by Jinjin. The priest's voice suddenly turned stern. Holy Knight, you have to think of the big picture. Jinjin's gaze was firm. I am more willing to think of my companions, father. Sa San snorted. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning appeared out of thin air, striking towards ZD. ZD had no time to react. She could only watch as the bolt of lightning struck her feet. After being stunned for a moment, the crowd immediately went into an uproar. Father, what are you doing? That bolt of lightning just now, was it controlled by you? What are you trying to do? What am I trying to do? Sa San roared. I just want to save time. Now is not the time to be suspicious of each other. Quickly bring me the artifact. Otherwise, the next bolt of lightning will not be so casual. Xiongdun, Chaizhong, how long are you Guardian Knights going to dawdle? Quickly bring me the artifact. This is an order. Don't worry, they will not stop you. Because this holy knight only wants to think of his companions. At the end, Sa San's tone was obviously mocking. Xiongdun, Chaizhong and the others took a step forward and looked at Jinjin. We are very sorry, sir. Jinjin clenched his teeth tightly. He and the Guardian Knights were in a deadlock for a few breaths. Finally, he took a step back and gave way. Under everyone's gaze, the 4 Guardian Knights lifted the green jade gold coffin and brought the fairy tale of the mermaid to the 4th floor. Sir Sa San. The 4 Guardian Knights' hearts jumped, revealing a shocked expression. When they saw Sa San again, they found that the priest had changed beyond recognition. Originally, Sa San was hale and hearty and was in the prime of his life. But now, he was haggard and skinny. His brows were deeply wrinkled, his expression was distorted, and the veins on his forehead were bulging. Sa San looked at the 4 of them and laughed bitterly. He used a volume that only the 4 of them could hear and said, Do you think there is no price to pay for occupying this central tower? At the end of the day, I'm just a silver-ranked priest, and this is the headquarters of a legendary-ranked alchemist. Priests, pastors, and devout believers would all receive more or less divine power because of their faith. Under normal circumstances, Scab's body would always contain divine power and receive constant nourishment from it. Over time, Scab's physical fitness would also improve, especially his eyesight. However, in order to invade the central tower, Scab, in his complete state, did not have enough divine power. Moreover, in the process of coming here and in the fierce battle just now, he had repeatedly used divine arts and consumed a large amount of divine power. His divine power was far from enough to invade the central tower, so Scab could only use unconventional methods. He had squeezed out his own life force and overdraft his future potential to advance. Only then could he burst forth with divine power that was far beyond ordinary. Sir Scab. The hearts of the Guardian Knights trembled. Their voices were choked with emotion. They understood how great Scab's sacrifice was. It's all right. Scab smiled. As long as we offer these 2 divine artifacts and inform the upper echelons of the situation here, the merit and rewards we will receive will far exceed our efforts. At that time, I might even become a cardinal, and all of you are no longer just knights in charge of protecting the priest. Sir, when can we leave this place? We are about to succeed. The tower genie has been severely injured and is retreating. We will be able to open the portal soon. Scab's eyes flashed as he said this. He was very confident. Roar. A brown bear with a monkey tail attempted to rush to the 3rd floor. The huge white bone-feather deer was stuck at the staircase between the 1st and 2nd floor, but the brown bear and the other man-made magic beasts were not in this category. Zhonggu waved his bone hammer and repelled the brown bear. The brown bear was quickly bitten by the alligator head hammertail behind it, dragged down and began to devour it. A few bat monkeys were about to join forces and rush over, but they were sprayed with acid and fell down one after another. The green lizards that sprayed acid were quickly trampled by the white rhinoceroses that rushed over and fled in panic. The second floor was a mess. Without a unified scent to guide them, these man-made magic beasts killed each other. The survivors stationed on the third floor were under a lot of pressure. However, the irony was that Zhong-gu thought that this kind of pressure would be better. The situation is not good, Zhenjin. Scab is controlling the central tower. The key is that we don't know what his progress is. Zhong-gu took advantage of the gap and said to Zhenjin. Zhenjin frowned and sighed deeply. What else can we do? We don't have divine power. The only one who can invade the central tower is Scab. He can also control lightning. Don't worry, he is the priest of the Xingming Emperor. Divine arts cannot be faked. Zhong-gu saw Zhenjin's response and could not help but be stunned. His mood immediately became worse. The half-beast man's heart sank and he suddenly understood. Not good. Zhenjin is brave and just but too kind. This was his strength and also his weakness. Now, Scab had seen through it and grasped it tightly. Zhenjin wants to protect the others, especially his fiancée. He is too young. There is another point. Zhenjin is a holy knight and Scab is a Xingming priest. The two of them have a close relationship. Therefore, even if the priest deliberately used lightning to threaten Zhenjin, Zhenjin still believes that the priest will not harm him. The holy knights were the armed forces of the Xingming Emperor. The priests were also the civil servants of the Xingming Emperor. These two were of the same system and had the same belief. If the two of them killed each other, it would definitely cause the dissatisfaction of the gods. Zhenjin made a move against Scab. The situation was serious. He would be stripped of his status as a holy knight and would be wanted. On the other hand, if Scab was unfavorable to Zhenjin, his teaching position would be reduced or completely returned to zero. He would even be labeled as a traitor. Therefore, Sca San's lightning did not strike the golden needle, but chose to strike the purple stem instead. However, it did not really strike Zd. It was just a warning. Zhong-ji's eyes were filled with gloominess. He secretly analyzed the situation. The current situation is not good. Only Scab can invade the central control. Now he has been in action for a long time and controls most of the central tower. He can launch lightning and firmly occupies the initiative. I have no way to judge how much of what he said is true or false. I am afraid there is the danger of the mana pool drying up. But it is also very possible that he can already open the portal. It's really too bad to send these two divine artifacts up. We have lost an important bargaining chip to clamp down on Scab. But if we don't send them, I am afraid we will be struck to death by lightning. Listening to his voice, this priest's mind is full of merit and merit. Obviously, in his heart, artifacts are more important than people. Zhenjin is a holy knight and will not have this kind of worry. But our identities will not be in Scab's eyes. If so, we are in danger. And now, the only things that can make Scab apprehensive are these man-made magical beasts in front of us. Damn it! Before, I couldn't wait for these man-made magical beasts to die, but now I need them to show a stronger offensive to ensure my safety? How ironic! Zhong-gu was a tough guy. He understood the principle of not being merciful and also understood the benefits of raising bandits for one's own sake. As for Zhenjin, he was disappointed but also understood. After all, Zd was the young knight's fiancée. What should we do? What a headache. Zhong-gu was not good at dealing with this kind of thing. Although his father was in a high position, he was an illegitimate child. In his childhood, he only received guidance in martial arts and did not receive any training in strategy. Otherwise, after joining the army, he would not have had the most outstanding achievements, but still be excluded by his colleagues. More or less, the others also had the same thoughts as Zhong-gu. Scab's threat and the lightning that fell at Zdi's feet made everyone's heart tremble. They were bewildered. Seeing that Zhenjin was forced into a corner, the morale of the people quickly declined. Therefore, although the magical beasts were killing each other, under the attacks of the magical beasts from time to time, the survivors' line of defense was obviously unstable. There was a frightening wavering. "Hold on for me." Scab was keenly aware of this situation. In fact, he was already prepared for it. He continued to shout, "As long as we survive the last crisis, we can all be saved. Just based on the merits in your hands, it is enough for you to start afresh. Jean, don't forget I am your examiner. Just like I said before, our contribution right now is not just a mere White Sand City Lord's position. Muban, you have stolen a large number of bow and crossbow blueprints from the guild. With this merit, you can return to the guild and even become the branch president. Song Su, you may not know, but the internal strife of the Sand Tower family has been quelled. Although you were betrayed by your son, because he was in the same faction, he has been implicated and imprisoned. The Sand Tower family is setting things right. You have this merit, and in the future, with my guarantee, the Sand Tower family will revoke your arrest warrant and admit your mistake. You can return to being a scholar. ZD, your Wisteria Chamber of Commerce and Jinjin's family have formed an alliance, but you are still in trouble. After this battle, I will pull the bridge for you and let a part of the Xing Ming parish become your trading partner. You should understand how important this is to the Chamber of Commerce. Sandow, you do pay attention to integrity. But because of integrity, your mercenary group has done a lot of dirty work, right? Although it has been disbanded, I can find a position for you people to settle down in, such as a city guard. If you can really be a devout believer of the Xingming Emperor, I can even lead you into the Apologetic Knights. Zone Go. I know your identity, you are an illegitimate child. You want to achieve something, you want to go back with your head held high and take back everything that belongs to you. Then all the more reason for you to seize this opportunity, right? SCA Shah's words once again moved the survivors. He actually understood the survivors very well, and his understanding was so deep that he seemed to understand everyone's thoughts and demands. He clearly remembered every survivor's name, and his speech did not leave anyone out, even ordinary people like Baya were no exception. This was the excellent quality of a preacher. He promised Baya that as long as he cooperated with him, this merit would definitely make him a knight in the future. Father, I believe in you. Baya showed a yearning expression. The morale of the survivors no longer fell, and the front line stabilized. More importantly, SCA Shah had taken too much of the initiative, and the survivors had no way to counter him. They could only choose to believe. However, in the fourth floor, after SCA Shah's encouraging speech, he coldly snorted, his face full of disgust and disdain. "A group of scum, how dare you share this merit with us? I'll let you die here to atone for your sins." "Father? There are Templar knights among them. We're all on the same boat after all, we've been supporting each other all this time." A few of the Guardian Knights showed unbearable expressions. SCA Shah coldly snorted, "Of course I'll save the Holy Knights. But I can't take the others. The more I invade the central tower, the more information I'll get. From the records of the past warlords, with my current magic power, it's already very difficult to transport 2 artifacts. I can only take a few people. Do you want companions? Or do you want merit?" SCA Shah's gaze was sharp and he glanced around. The Guardian Knights all lowered their heads, not daring to look at the priest. SCA Shah smiled proudly, but at this moment, another gold-ranked beast rushed over. Its body was not big, but it was actually a gold-ranked bat monkey. Everyone was no match for it, and the front line was about to collapse. "Damn it, I still have to unlock the 3rd floor's array, and take out that strange blood ball." SCA Shah was anxious, and hurriedly shouted to the next floor, "Zhen, quickly go up, use all your strength. I know your concerns, but these are not important. Don't worry, I'm here, I'll purify everything for you. Zhen Jin's expression changed greatly. At this moment, Zhen Jin was already in the state of a divine knight. Xie Sha's meaning was undoubtedly to let Zhen Jin completely change. He seemed to have seen through Zhen Jin's biggest secret. Zhen Jin hesitated for a moment, but still gritted his teeth and charged forward. But the direction he charged towards was not the golden bat monkey, but the stairs of the 4th floor. Stop! Zhen Jin, what are you trying to do? If you don't stop, you'll have to bear the consequences. Zhen Jin turned a deaf ear, and his speed became faster and faster. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect Zhen Jin to be so reckless. But in the next moment, everyone was even more frightened. A few bolts of lightning struck Zhen Jin, and the young knight was killed on the spot. No! Stunned for a moment, ZD immediately let out a shrill scream, and ran towards Zhen Jin's body, but she was caught by Heiwan. It's too dangerous! Heiwan shouted, President ZD, please calm down. Dad! The big guy roared, reacted, and rushed towards Zhen Jin's body. The big guy ran with all his strength, and directly knelt on the ground, ignoring the fierce friction between his knees and the tiles. He carefully turned over Zhen Jin's body. Zhen Jin's surface was pitch black, and there was no sign of life. Dad, wake up, wake up! The big guy's eyes were red, and tears poured out like a spring. But it was obvious that Zhen Jin was dead. Everyone felt that his life force was gone. After all, in this environment where magic was forbidden, how could the human body withstand the attack of lightning? Even those man-made magical beasts were destroyed by the lightning. No, this can't be real. Lord Zhen Jin is dead? Is Scab crazy? He actually killed a Templar Knight. Even if he has great merits, just based on this, he won't be able to make a comeback. Zhonggu and the rest resisted the golden bat monkeys with difficulty, and were defeated one by one. They could not believe what was happening in front of them. Murderer! Murderer! Father's murderer, I'll kill you! The big guy roared, his expression ferocious, and rushed towards the stairs leading to the 4th level. Don't go! ZD screamed. But it was too late. The next moment, a few more bolts of lightning struck the big guy, and he fell to the ground. His whole body twitched, and he foamed at the mouth, unable to move. Chapter 173. Everything happened too suddenly. After a few breaths, Zhen Jin died in front of everyone's eyes. ZD cried out mournfully. The big guy rushed forward without a care for his own safety, then fell to the ground. The crowd was silent for a moment, and then it exploded like a bomb. Let go of me! ZD tried to shake off Heiwan's hand, but Heiwan still held on tightly to her arm, his expression grim. Damn it, damn it! Zhonggu gritted his teeth as he defended against the invading magical beast. His face was full of anger. Master! Lan Zhao roared and rushed towards Zhen Jin's corpse. Be careful! ZD's heart was in her throat, and she reminded him again. But this time, Lan Zhao flew towards Zhen Jin's corpse, but he was not struck by lightning. Master! Lan Zhao hugged Zhen Jin's corpse, crying out in pain. His eyes were red and tears streamed down his face. Because he was injured, Lan Zhao had retreated to the back of the battle line and waited for treatment. So when Zhen Jin charged, Lan Zhao did not even notice it. When he took action, it was too late. Lan Zhao's body was bent, and he hugged Zhen Jin tightly. At this moment, he felt that the light in his life had dissipated, and his life had once again sunk into endless darkness. Endless pain and confusion seemed to form an abyss, swallowing him whole. At the same time, endless regret and hatred towards Scab grew rapidly in the darkness, ferociously accumulating. Lord Zhen Jin! You killed our Lord Zhen Jin! Many people roared. There were also people who held their heads in their hands, stunned like statues. They looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Lord Zhen Jin is dead? He actually died at the hands of his own people? No! Baya shouted. He came to his senses and ran towards ZD. Madam ZD, medicine! Quick, quick, quick! Let's save Madam! This sentence was like a bolt of lightning, striking ZD into a daze. Silent tears quickly flowed down her face. Scram! Seeing Baya pouncing on him like a madman, Heywan grabbed ZD's arm with one hand and kicked Baya to the ground. Heywan, what are you doing? Song Su asked sternly. Let go of our guild leader. Fat tongue closed in. Brat, you better let go of Lord Jinjin's fiancé. This is no place for you to behave atrociously. Sandao held the dagger in his hand, his eyes filled with warning. Hee hee. Heywan laughed strangely, using a mocking and contemptuous gaze to sweep over everyone, without a trace of fear. You bunch of ignorant fools! Heywan held his head high and shouted loudly, I am Jinjin. I am the real Jinjin. Everyone was shocked. What did you say? Are you crazy? Could it be that you can't stand the pressure and collapsed? However, at this time, SCA's voice sounded again. He is indeed the real Jinjin, a holy knight, the only successor of the 100 Needles clan, and the one you wholeheartedly want to follow. Did you hear that, idiots? Heywan glared. Everyone was silent for a moment, then once again went into an uproar. These two people are crazy. SCA is crazy too, no wonder he did this. Maybe this isn't the priest's fault, but the tower spirit's doing. No, maybe that artifact, the fairy tale of the mermaid, is playing its role. All of us have been deceived. All of this is fake. Song Su fell into silence. He looked at ZD, Heywan, and then looked at Jinjin's corpse, his face revealing a thoughtful expression. Who told you that the criminal who was killed by me is the real Jinjin? SCA said in a mocking tone. Or do you think that I would be stupid enough to publicly murder a holy knight as a priest of the sacred church? If I did that, what's the use of having more merits? Also, don't you think that Jinjin's actions just now were very impulsive and strange? Why did he rush to the 4th floor? But because of what I said just now, he realized that his identity had been exposed. The uproar of the crowd weakened. But he is a holy knight. His prayers are almost always answered by the emperor. Someone retorted. Is he a holy knight? Have you seen what a real holy knight looks like? SCA was furious. Take a good look, the armor on his body, the sword in his hand. Doesn't it look like the shell of a spear scorpion? Doesn't it look like the legs of a blade spider? Everyone's eyes focused on him, and their faces changed. SCA's voice slowed down, then became gentle again. I know what you are thinking, and I understand you very well. In fact, don't any of you think that the fake Jinjin looks suspicious? Don't you think of the shell of a spear scorpion and the legs of a blade spider? It's just that you want to escape, you want to leave here alive, you want to follow Jinjin, you want a bright future. So, you deliberately rejected these suspicious points. This fake Jinjin is indeed very skillful. He has aroused the greed in your hearts, and made you help him deceive yourselves. SCA paused, and then solemnly announced, You have all been deceived by him. Everyone was bewildered. Baya had just been kicked to the ground by Heywan, and now he was sitting on the ground shaking his head. No, this is not true, this is not true. Heywan sneered, and he swept his eyes over the people around him. Look at your expressions now, it's really wonderful. If you don't believe me, and don't believe the Holy Church's priest, I have a witness here. ZD, my fiancé, quickly tell them the truth. Heywan stared at ZD with a sharp gaze. But ZD was already crying, and her arm was firmly controlled by Heywan. She stared blankly at the youth's corpse, motionless. Her expression was incomparably confused, as if she didn't hear Heywan's words at all. Heywan coldly snorted, very dissatisfied with ZD. He swept his eyes over the people around him. Are you really stupid, or are you pretending to be stupid? She has already tacitly agreed. Indeed, ZD's strange state was enough to prove Hei-wan and SCA's words. The whole place was dead silent. Only the sound of the magical beasts fighting downstairs could be heard. At this moment, Hei-wan was greatly satisfied. He took a deep breath, and although the air had not changed, he felt unprecedentedly carefree. Standing in the silent crowd, Hei-wan proudly announced again, "Now you should understand, I am the real Zhenjin. I am Zhenjin. I am Zhenjin." The childhood Zhenjin stood in a pool of blood, surrounded by the corpses of his brothers and sisters. At this moment, the murderer was squatting in front of Zhenjin, with a charming smile on her delicate face. The murderer stretched out her slender white hand, gently stroking Zhenjin's hair, and gently comforted him. "What is your name, little friend?" The childhood Zhenjin's pupils had already shrunk to the size of a needle tip, and his whole body was stiff as if dead. His whole body and mind were filled with fear. "If you don't obediently answer your sister's words, you will die." The murderer smiled. The childhood Zhenjin's whole body trembled, and he opened his mouth to speak, but his teeth were violently chattering, and no words came out. He was extremely frightened and anxious, and the cold sweat on his forehead kept rolling down his cheek. Good boy, don't be afraid, don't be afraid." The murderer patted Zhenjin's little head again, and then leaned close to Zhenjin's ear, whispering, "Even if you don't say it, I know. Your name is Zhenjin, right?" The murderer chuckled. "Don't worry, I was just joking with you. If your sister doesn't kill you, you will live. Who told the great emperor to choose to forgive your 100 Needles clan? According to my sister's wishes, your decaying, betraying, and surrendering southern aristocrats should be completely exterminated. Gee, what a pity." However, although the 100 Needles clan survived, it was almost the same as being exterminated. The great emperor only allowed the 100 Needles clan to have one successor. Do you know why your sister chose you? Because you are too timid. Quietly, these brothers and sisters around you, they were very brave, they were full of hatred, they wanted to revitalize the clan. So they died. You have to thank your cowardice and timidity. This is your temperament, you have to keep it well, little friend. Did you hear that? The childhood Zhenjin's whole body trembled again, and he began to madly nod. "Good boy." The murderer smiled and stroked Zhenjin's little head, and stood up. Glancing at the corpses all over the ground, her face revealed the joy and satisfaction after the slaughter. When she saw the childhood Zhenjin nodding madly, she couldn't help but reveal a trace of regret. She turned around and left, leaving the childhood Zhenjin in the same place, like a puppet, still madly nodding. In the bright and magnificent White Palace, the sunlight shone through the towering 7-colored glass window. A group of teenagers gathered together, including Zhenjin. Zhenjin and the other teenagers swore together, "I swear to respect and love the living God, the great emperor of the empire, the Shengming Emperor. I swear to strive to follow the leader's footsteps, and bravely move forward. I swear to protect my loved ones, and not be afraid of difficulties. I swear to treat my friends sincerely, and refuse to be hypocritical. I swear that I will love you till death do us part, and I will never leave you. I swear to bravely fight against violence, and be kind to the weak. I swear to maintain justice, and fight against all wrongs. From today onwards, I am a holy knight." Awesome! After the oath, the youth Zhenjin was full of excitement. "I became a holy knight, my family will have a backer, and the future will be safe." The sky was gloomy, and it was drizzling. In a spacious training ground, a group of teenagers formed a circle, and Zhenjin was lying on the ground, surrounded by the teenagers. The teenagers looked down at Zhenjin, constantly laughing and ridiculing, their faces full of disdain. The leader of the teenagers was tall and sturdy, with a head of green hair that looked like steel needles, standing upright on his scalp. The green-haired teenager crossed his arms and stepped on Zhenjin's shoulder. "Zhenjin, you better remember, your 100 Needles clan is just a viscount, A loser. A guy like you wants to be on equal footing with us? The green-haired teenager suddenly raised his foot and stepped on Zhen Jin's head, laughing sinisterly. Today I will teach you a lesson. From today onwards, whenever you see us, no matter where you are in the castle, you better obediently lower your head, make way for us, and shrink to the side. Lower nobles should act like lower nobles. If I see you looking at me, Qin Kuei, on equal footing again, I will cripple you. Do you understand? Qin Kuei let out a low roar and exerted force on his foot, directly crushing Zhen Jin's head into the mud. Understood. Cough, cough, cough. Zhen Jin made a sound with difficulty, his heart full of fear. Ha! Qin Kuei raised his head and laughed complacently, releasing his foot and swaggering away. Before leaving, he left behind a sentence. Of course, Zhen Jin, if you are not convinced, you can challenge me at any time. I, Qin Kuei, will be waiting for you at any time. Cough, cough, cough. Zhen Jin struggled to sit up. He wanted to say that he would never challenge, but just as he opened his mouth to speak, the muddy water inevitably flowed back into his throat, causing another bout of coughing. Seeing him in such a sorry state, the teenagers all lost interest. Bah, who do you think you are? He wants to challenge young Master Qin Kuei? Why? Because of that embroidery needle of his, ha ha. It was raining heavily. The teenagers clustered around Qin Kuei, making guffaws, and entered the castle. Zhen Jin sat in the mud, letting the rain fall on his body. He shivered and felt extremely wronged. I'm innocent. I just want to make friends with you, Qin Kuei. I don't want to challenge you at all. In the autumn evening, Zhen Jin was in a study. The study was dim, with a narrow window on one side of the stone wall, which was the only light source at the moment. He saw Zhen Jin's father, the leader of the 100 Needles clan, sitting behind the desk. He was a middle-aged man with a thin figure and a pale face, with two straight and slender beards. He frowned slightly, showing a cold temperament. Zhen Jin, my son, don't lower your head. Zhen Jin raised his head, looked at his father, and then looked away in fear. Why? Half a month has passed, my son, and you still haven't made any progress in the breath-holding technique. The middle-aged man's voice came again. Zhen Jin's head trembled, and he didn't dare to make a sound. The middle-aged man said clearly, I know how you feel. You've never been interested in the breath-holding technique. You think the fighting technique of the clan is weak, don't you? You think the bloodline of the 100 Needles clan can't give you excellent physical strength or speed, and you're only an inferior noble of the empire, right? Zhen Jin was silent. The middle-aged noble sighed deeply, stood up, walked around the desk, and came to Zhen Jin's side. Come, follow me. They walked out of the study, walked through the dark corridor, past the mottled stone wall, and came to the garden in the castle. Fighting technique, 100 Needles wind. The middle-aged man suddenly pulled out his sword. This sword was not a slashing sword, but a slender rapier. The rapier in the middle-aged man's hand kept attacking. Because it was so fast, it directly formed a sword shadow. In particular, the tip of the rapier was covered with fighting energy. For a moment, golden stars overflowed, brilliant and dazzling. The tree-wing butterflies were swept up by the wind and hit by the golden stars, falling to the ground one by one. After a few breaths, the ground was covered with a layer of parasol leaves. Hundreds and thousands of tree-wing butterflies, but not a single one managed to escape. So powerful. Zhen Jin was stunned. Cough, cough, cough. The middle-aged man put away his rapier, coughed repeatedly, and his face became pale. Do you still think our 100 Needles clan is weak? Zhen Jin shook his head. Every noble clan has its own heritage, not to mention our 100 Needles clan was once a great noble clan in the south. 100 Needles wind is the symbol of our clan, and also one of our heritage. But outsiders rarely know this secret. Running a clan requires strategy. Sometimes we need to be high profile, like a beast baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. But sometimes we need to be low-key. Like right now, our 100 Needles clan needs to show weakness and reduce our presence. After a pause, the middle-aged man continued, "Do you know what is the basis for using 100 Needles wind?" Without waiting for Zhenjin to answer, the middle-aged man immediately said, "It is the qi restraining technique." Zhenjin was surprised. Only by enduring and accumulating strength can we have an amazing burst. The qi restraining technique allows us to restrain our aura, making it difficult for outsiders to detect or underestimate our cultivation. At the same time, the qi restraining technique also has the effect of accumulating strength. Only when the qi restraining technique is cultivated to a profound level can one practice 100 Needles wind and other technique. It can be said that the qi restraining technique is the cornerstone of our clan's fighting technique. Zhenjin, you are the heir of our 100 Needles clan. You must practice well. I understand. I will work hard, father. Zhenjin's eyes shone with excitement. He found a reason. Yes, I am only enduring. I am not weak, and I have never been a coward. I am accumulating strength. I am enduring humiliation for the sake of the clan. In an old tavern, the lights were dim and the voices were noisy. We have won. Let's drink up. This was the celebration banquet of the newly formed 5th Temple Knight Regiment. The knights had new wounds on their armor, capes, or even their bodies, but everyone was excited. Zhenjin was among them. "Commander, tell us about it. I know that you have participated in many battles, such as the attack on Iron Flag Castle, the encirclement of the Blood Knights, and the defense of Griffin Cliff. What do you think was the most difficult battle?" Someone asked. The old commander's remaining eye revealed a look of reminiscence under the illumination of the flames. He said, "The most difficult battle would be the one 6 years ago in Lupus Valley." "I know, it was the Battle of the Frost Knights," someone said excitedly. There were also many people who looked at Zhenjin with sharp gazes. The old commander nodded and continued, "Yes, it was in Lupus Valley. Those southern nobles are all treacherous, despicable, and fickle. Our 5th Temple Knight Regiment had been marching for 5 days. After entering Lupus Valley, we were betrayed by our allies. Tens of thousands of Cold Wood Knights surrounded us. Our 5th Temple Knight Regiment had just retreated from the front lines. After the first wave of attack, we were caught off guard and lost 30% of our men. There were only 1,000 left, and almost everyone was injured. We lost. Because the entire 5th Temple Knight Regiment died, only I was left. It was the Emperor himself who saved my worthless life. He asked me what reward I wanted. I told the Emperor and begged him to give me the designation of the 5th Temple Knight Regiment. I want to build another 5th Temple Knight Regiment. That is why you brats are here, do you understand? Otherwise, why would the Temple Knight Regiment recruit new members so easily? You little fellows, you've all run into dog's hit luck. But you are still too young. What is that battle?" The old commander shook his head and continued drinking without saying anything. He spoke very simply and crudely, but the young Temple Knights in the tavern were excited. They began to talk excitedly. "I know. In the battle at Lupus Valley, our 5th Temple Knight Regiment only relied on 1,000 men to wipe out 5,000 of the Frost Knight. We wiped out 3 of their divisions. The Frost Knights had just finished cleaning up the battlefield when they were attacked by the 3rd Temple Knight Regiment. They were all wiped out in Lupus Valley. The Frost Knights were the trump card of the Southern Noble Alliance. This battle has broken the backbone of the Southern Noble Alliance. That's right, this is our Temple Knight Regiment. We are unparalleled, no one can stop us. Even if we are in a desperate situation, we will hold our heads high and face death. That's right, charge, charge, charge to death." The atmosphere in the tavern became lively again. The young Temple Knights were all flushed, perhaps because of the alcohol or excitement. Only Zhenjin sat in the corner. He was silent, no longer in a daze. The glory of victory seemed to have been stripped away from him. No one was willing to sit with him. The arena was filled with people. The duel in the arena was coming to an end. The temple knight Qin Kuei was forced into a desperate situation. His opponent was the 100 Needles clan leader. Zhen Jin was in the crowd, shouting inwardly, "That's it, father, kill this damned guy. He's the one who's been picking on me in the Temple Knight Regiment. Ever since I joined the 5th Temple Knight Regiment, he's never stopped bullying me." Zhen Jin was surrounded by many of his fellow Temple Knights. They were all familiar faces. "Qin Kuei, if you can't do it, just admit defeat. Your opponent is too strong and you're still too young. There's no shame in losing. You still have a sister. Qin Kuei, don't be stubborn." The young Templars were all shouting. Qin Kuei's sister was also outside the arena. Her face was pale, without a trace of blood. Her delicate body trembled, like a pitiful flower in a storm. Zhen Jin sneered inwardly, "Qin Kuei's sister? Very good. Qin Kuei is dead, but it's not over yet. Once I get the chance, as his sister, you'll have to atone for your brother's sins." Then, it was the last fight. The head of the 100 Needles clan broke his hand that was holding the sword, and Qin Kuei fainted on the ground. "Father, father!" Zhen Jin exclaimed, his voice trembling violently. "Impossible, it's impossible! How could Qin Kuei hurt father?" Zhen Jin couldn't believe the fact in front of him. Kill him, father!" Zhen Jin wanted to shout loudly, but he didn't have the courage to do so. At this time, the old commander walked into the arena and announced the end of the duel. "No, how could this be?" The people around cheered, but Zhen Jin felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. "Father!" He ran over and supported the head of the 100 Needles clan. The middle-aged man looked around and took in the surrounding scene. His expression had returned to normal. "My son, raise your head and look at me. Tell me, what are the family rules of our clan? Don't overestimate or underestimate people." Zhen Jin raised his head reluctantly. His voice was choked with sobs, and his heart was trembling. There were only 2 people in the shooting range. "Father, I'm here at your call," Zhen Jin said. The head of the 100 Needles clan nodded slightly. "It's been a few days since you came back from the capital. I'm here to test whether you've slackened your training in the capital or not. This time, let's compete in archery. If you can beat me, I'll give you the swift bee." Zhen Jin's head trembled. He said sadly and hesitantly, "But father, your arm." The head of the 100 Needles clan didn't care at all. "It's okay. You shoot first." Zhen Jin picked up the longbow and shot an arrow. He was in low spirits and didn't hit the bullseye. It was the head of the 100 Needles clan's turn. "Watch carefully, my son." The head of the 100 Needles clan picked out a long white crystal needle with his index and middle fingers and flicked it. Whoosh! Suddenly, a sharp whistling sound that pierced through the air rang in Pin Jin's ears. At the same time, he saw the golden needle streaking through the air, leaving a bright light behind. The ray of light extended in a straight line and hit the target. Then, with a loud explosion, the entire target was blown to smithereens. "This is..." Jin Jin opened his mouth slightly, and his face was full of shock. "This is a secret skill passed down from generation to generation in the 100 Needles clan, Roaring Needles. Do you want to learn it? According to your current fighting energy, you should be able to shoot 1 needle if you inject all your fighting energy into it," the head of the 100 Needles clan estimated. Zhen Jin smiled bitterly. "Father, won't it be dangerous for me to use this secret skill?" The smile on the head of the 100 Needles clan gradually disappeared. His expression turned serious. He stared at Zhen Jin and said meaningfully, "My son, the reality is always cruel. You'll always be at risk whether it's a battle or something else. Many times, you'll find that shooting 1 needle with all your strength is the wisest choice. It's hard to feel empty and painful when all your fighting energy is temporarily consumed. But sometimes we have to do this. Don't be afraid of risks, and don't be afraid of sacrifices. Sacrifices. The word alone made Jinjin's heart tremble. It was a luxurious and well-decorated room. Famous paintings hung on the walls, and the air was filled with the smell of expensive perfume. The pink and gold curtains were drawn, blocking most of the daytime sunlight, making the whole room dim and ambiguous. The dancer GC was wearing an exotic costume from the northwest of the empire. Her face was covered with a purple veil, which made her beautiful face even more mysterious and seductive. Her figure was slim and enchanting, and she had a curvy figure. The red dance dress mixed with gold threads was very short and tight, revealing her slender arms and snow-white navel. When the dance ended, the 3 teenagers in the room were stunned. They all applauded when they realized what was going on. Jinjin's main attention was focused on one of the teenagers, who had an unusual identity. Jinjin held back his reluctance and asked with a smile, "Dark Spear, didn't you ask me to see GC's dance? What do you think? I can make the decision now and give this Miss GC to you. Tonight you can use her to warm your bed." However, amazing, the temptation of beauty is really amazing. This beauty has no value to me. I won't take it. My family's motto is this: hell is at your feet, and the fall is at your feet. Our family's motto reminds us to be vigilant. Desire is the abyss, and if you don't pay attention, you will turn into a demon and no longer be a human. Jinjin, you and I are colleagues. Since you've helped me this time, I'll give you a piece of advice. Your own cultivation is the most important thing, and blindly seeking personal connections will only be a leaf fluttering in the wind. After saying this, Dark Spear ignored Jinjin's ugly expression and got up to leave. Damn it. When there were no outsiders present, Jinjin was so angry that he smashed the cups in the room. Look down on me! What? Father, you want me to compete for the position of White Sand City Lord? This won't do. I'm only at the Black Iron level. As a City Lord, I should at least be at the Silver level. Jinjin kept shaking his head. The 100 Needles Patriarch snorted. Who told you not to work hard? Look at your colleagues, Qing Kuei and Dark Spear. Which one of them isn't at the Silver level? Jinjin lowered his head and muttered, "They all have a strong background and have too many cultivation resources. How can I compare with them?" The 100 Needles Patriarch snorted again. "Although our 100 Needles family is lonely, there are many who should support you. This is an opportunity for our family's revitalization. You must seize it. Because you are the only heir of the 100 Needles family. I will send elite forces and ask Armtile to lead the team to help you compete for the City Lord's position." Jinjin suddenly showed joy. Uncle Armtile. In addition, I also got an external aid for you. Congratulations, my son. Not long ago, I chose an excellent fiancée for you. Her name is ZD, the current president of the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce. What? Jinjin's joy was gone. Father, she has no noble blood. You want me to marry her? If it was the old Wisteria Chamber of Commerce, there would be room for negotiation. But now the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce. Enough. I called you here to tell you to prepare, not to listen to your complaints. You can leave now. The 100 Needles Patriarch waved his hand. Jinjin opened his mouth reluctantly, but in the end, he could only leave because of his father's authority. You are ZD? Jinjin slightly raised his head and looked at the purple-eyed girl in front of him. Although his face was expressionless, his heart was stirred by ZD's beauty. What a beauty! Although it's a disgrace to look at her, and I'll even become a laughing stock in the circle. But just this appearance alone seems to be valuable. Lord Jinjin. ZD's face was anxious. I'm sorry for rushing here, but the situation is urgent. The men sent by your family have been completely annihilated. I know. Jinjin nodded with a hint of anger. If Uncle Armtile personally led the team, this wouldn't have happened. ZD continued. I'm worried that the other competitors will arrive at Baisha City ahead of time and establish an early advantage. So, I suggest that we pretend to stay where we are while disguising ourselves. We will secretly set out on the pig's kiss. Zhen Jin's pupils shrank. He wanted to retreat, but he didn't want to appear weak in front of the beauty in front of him. He could only snort, "This is a good idea, but it's also very risky. I'm only an iron-rank cultivator. If I act rashly and get framed, all the plans will be useless." ZD smiled. "My lord, please don't worry. I have the means to ensure your safety. First, we will hire a powerful mercenary group to protect our safety. Second, if we act quietly, we may not be discovered. Third, the pig's kiss has the examiner of Baisha City, the priest of the sacred church, Sir Sca Sand. Finally, I strongly suggest that you disguise yourself as an ordinary mercenary and use a substitute as bait in public." Zhen Jin was attracted by ZD's smile and felt dazzled. He forced himself to frown. "Will this work?" "It will work, my lord. The potion we will use this time is a transformation potion personally refined by Duke Amy. After drinking it, people would change their skin color, hair color, or make their nose bridge a little higher, their eyes a little bigger, and so on. Most importantly, its effects are obvious. It's very safe and secretive. If it's a normal spell or magic tool, it will definitely consume magic power, and there will be magic power fluctuations." ZD gently persuaded. "This seems like a good idea." Zhen Jin's tone was hesitant. "What about my substitute?" "Trust me, Lord Zhen Jin. You will see him very soon and you will be very satisfied." Chapter 174. At the docks. The pig's kiss was anchored quietly. A few crew members stayed on the ship, while most of them were having fun in the taverns and gambling dens. The ship would set sail the next day. In a warehouse at the docks. It was a sturdy and exquisite wooden box. At this moment, the lid of the wooden box had been lifted, revealing the goods inside. "Ah, this is..." Zhen Jin stood in front of the wooden box and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. He saw a golden-haired youth lying in the wooden box, sleeping with his eyes closed. Whether it was the nose, the eyebrows, the arms, or the ankles, they were all replicas of Zhen Jin. Even the height was the same. "My lord, this is the substitute I prepared for you," ZD said with a smile. "Unbelievable! It's too unbelievable. How could you find such a perfect substitute?" Zhen Jin exclaimed in surprise. ZD explained, "Of course it wasn't found. It was modified. He is a werbeast." Werbeast? Zhen Jin's pupils constricted as he thought of the relevant information. These biological weapons seem to be very popular. Especially in recent years, they have been appearing more and more in the battlefields of the various continents. "As expected of my lord, you are so knowledgeable," ZD praised softly. The flattery of such a beautiful woman made Jin Zhen very happy. Zhen Jin faintly grunted, then frowned. "But why does he look exactly like me?" ZD replied, "Because this is a war creature specially made for you, my lord." "Can it be customized?" Zhen Jin's eyes flashed as he praised inwardly, "As expected of the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce, second only to the Great Six. No wonder my father agreed to this marriage. The Wisteria Chamber of Commerce is so large that they have come into contact with many dark corners of the world and hidden dangerous people. Even if they are crippled, they cannot be underestimated." ZD continued, "According to our request, the arms dealer customized this werbeast. As you can see, he has the same appearance, height, and other characteristics as you. More importantly, he is a knight just like you, my lord, and cultivates battle chi. His battle chi is already at the silver rank." Jin Zhen's heart suddenly trembled and he said, "It's not easy to capture a silver knight, a castellan-level figure, right?" ZD shook her head and smiled. "Our Chamber of Commerce would not do such a dangerous thing. This is all provided by the arms dealer." Zhenjin asked. Then, what is his identity? Is he a noble or a commoner promoted to knight? ZD continued shaking her head. We don't know, but don't worry. His original memories have all been erased. Even if we wake him up now and he doesn't know who he is, he's been modified. He'll definitely be loyal to us and listen to our orders until death. Beastman's technology is really convenient. Jin Jin sighed, but he felt a sense of crisis in his heart. Even a silver-ranked knight was defeated, let alone a mere black iron-ranked knight. However, ZD and I are related by marriage. I am a temple knight and the only heir of the 100 Needles family. They wouldn't dare to harm me. When Zhenjin thought of this, his frown deepened. He saw one of the shortcomings of the war creatures. How can a blank substitute act as me well? About this, please take a look, sir. ZD showed Zhenjin something. Of course we've prepared for this. Zhenjin looked over and saw a milky white crystal pillar in ZD's hand. Angel's tear? Zhenjin raised his eyebrows. No, this is Yu Jinseng's memory crystal. ZD smiled. My lord, it's really delightful to talk with someone as insightful and wise as you. Necromancer Yu Jinseng, ranked 6th on the wanted list, was a legendary figure who had created necromancy. There was no way to verify what race he was from. Many reports mentioned that he was a successful blasphemy priest who had stolen the divine power of many gods. This was not easy. He had successfully deceived the gods, making them think that he was their believer. From there, they would project their divine power to Yu Jinseng. Some powerhouses guessed that it was Yu Jinseng who had stolen the divine power of many gods and conducted private research, which led him to successfully create necromancy. And the important tool Yu Jinseng used to deceive the gods was the memory crystal he had developed. This magic tool looked very similar to Angel's Tear. It could erase and copy the memories of intelligent life forms. Every time Yu Jinseng changed his identity and believed in another god, he would copy his own memories into the memory crystal and store the fake memories in his own body. This way, he could deceive himself without any flaws and deceive the gods. Wonderful! Zhenjin clapped his hands and laughed. As long as he copies a memory and instills it into this substitute, I will be able to do it. This way, he will be a living copy of me. It's just that. Zhenjin thought of something and had new concerns. ZD knew what he was thinking and immediately persuaded him. Sir, you can rest assured that the 100 Needle Clan's secret techniques and the secrets of the Temple Knights will not be leaked. After the memories are instilled, he will only think of himself as Zhenjin. How could he leak these secrets and harm himself? We will strictly control the memory crystal and modify it. We just won't pass on some important memories to him. Only the two of us will be in charge of this memory crystal. I am your fiancé and I cultivate magic. I won't have any thoughts about these secret techniques. Our interests are the same, Lord Zhenjin. Zhenjin nodded. You are right. In fact, the clan's battle skills and secret techniques have already been leaked. As the defeated, these things have already been stored in the depths of the Imperial Library. And these battle skills and secret techniques need to be matched with our 100 Needle Clan's bloodline to show their true value. Zhenjin looked at the sleeping substitute and felt more and more satisfied. Very good. With this substitute I will be very safe. Silver Battle Chi is also suitable for the position of Baisha City Lord. My Battle Chi is still too low. As expected of my father, I completely approve of his decision. Cooperating with the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce is really beneficial. Seeing the change in Zhenjin's expression, ZD knew that he had approved of her plan. She then said softly, Lord Zhenjin, there are still some things you need to pay attention to when copying the memories. First, we don't need to copy all the memories into the memory crystal. Because people forget, we don't remember everything that happened in the past. Second, please try not to miss any important moments in our lives. If we miss any, and the substitute sees an enemy but treats them as a friend, we will be very troubled. Third, please copy as many positive memories as possible. When the substitute recognizes himself, he will think that he is a temple knight and an outstanding noble. This way, he will be able to display his true value. Zhen Jin's expression turned serious as he nodded. Zidi's words were very reasonable. He quickly thought of Qin Kuei and Darkspear. Haha, I'll let my silver substitute deal with them. When they see that my cultivation has suddenly increased to silver, they will be very surprised. A moment later. My lord, how do you feel now? Zidi asked. Zhen Jin shook his head slightly. Other than the headache caused by the memory copying, everything else is good. He stared at the mirror in front of him. In the mirror, there was a youth who was about to hang his sword. He had black hair, black eyes, and dark skin. His hair was naturally curly. Zhen Jin looked at himself in the mirror with a curious gaze. As expected of the potion made by Duke Amy, I have become a completely different person. What name should I give him? Zhen Jin thought about it and said a few names, but Zidi shook her head and rejected them all. My lord, the names you mentioned are too noble. You are now playing the role of a mercenary, and the mercenary's name needs to be more vulgar. Why don't you call yourself Heiwan? Heiwan? What a terrible name! Zhen Jin shook his head and then shrugged. It doesn't matter, I'll call myself that. Zidi looked at the sword at Zhen Jin's waist. My lord, please give this sword to the substitute. This time, Zhen Jin's attitude was very firm. He did not hesitate and shook his head. No, that won't do. This was personally given to me by my father. It is called Silver Lightning, and it is a gold-grade sword. In fact, it is one of the secondary swords of the 9 mystical light sword. Such a precious item must be personally safeguarded by me. Looking at Zidi, Zhen Jin said, but don't worry. Although the 9 mystical light swords are famous, there are many secondary swords. As for what they are, very few people know. I will not reveal my identity because of this. Zidi nodded. Then, Lord Zhen Jin, you can go and rest now. I have already prepared a room for you, my lord, and the most popular dancer on the docks. Of course, she does not match your true identity. Just treat it as a trial for you to familiarize yourself with your new identity. Ha ha! Zhen Jin laughed. I have never participated in such activities as a low-level mercenary. This will be very interesting. Zidi, I am very satisfied with all of this. You have done well. I have already acknowledged you. Perhaps in the future, you will be qualified to be my wife. But, are you not coming to accompany me tonight? Zidi smiled and curtsied. Taking advantage of the moment when she lowered her head, she concealed her disdainful expression. She said softly, I am very sorry, my lord. The Pig's Kiss will set sail tomorrow, but there are still many things to take care of. Ah! Zhen Jin laughed. Then go and take care of your business. Continue to work hard. It will not be easy to become a noble's wife with your identity and bloodline. I will remember my lord's words. Chapter 175. On the Pig's Kiss. Standing in the cabin assigned to him, Zhen Jin's expression was ugly. Do I have to pretend to be Heiwan the moment I get on the ship? Don't I have a slightly bigger cabin? The cabin in front of him was indeed small, but it was normal for a black iron mercenary to receive such treatment. ZD softly advised, Sir, don't forget that this trip is a disguise. We're pretending that you're still here, and as your fiancé, I'm only leading a group of people to the wilderness continent to act as your vanguard. If we're exposed now, the gains won't make up for the losses. In fact, even I'm pretending to hide my identity. The Pig's Kiss cabins are actually not much different. The largest cabin is in the hands of Father Scab. The other cabins are actually more or less the same. Zhen Jin reluctantly nodded. Then when can my substitute come out? Once we reach White Sand City, we'll let the substitute wake up. At that time, our two competitors will surely be shocked, ZD said with a smile. Haha, Zhen Jin fancied for a moment. I can't wait to see their expressions. Forget it, then I'll condescend to spend a few days in this cabin. You can accompany me tonight. ZD immediately revealed a look of pity. Lord Jinjin, even if I really want to do this, don't forget that Sir Scab is on this ship. In fact, according to our previous discussion, we've already accidentally leaked our information to the Guardian Knight. Next, we'll create a chance encounter and get to know Sir. You're the examiner this time. If we're in disguise and in secret, I'm afraid we'll leave a very bad impression on Father Scab at this time. Zhen Jin's expression turned ugly. You're right. Then I'll endure for a few days. Deep in the night, the pig's kiss quietly sailed on the ocean. Zhen Jin turned over and slept on his side. Suddenly, the bed flipped over and he fell onto the floor. Zhen Jin was awakened. He opened his eyes and saw that the floor was full of water. At the same time, he heard many panicked cries. What's going on? As soon as he reacted, the cabin door was suddenly pushed open, and with a rumble, seawater poured in. Zhen Jin was just about to open his mouth to ask for help when he was swallowed by a few mouthfuls of seawater. His entire body was completely submerged. Breathing heavily, Zhen Jinda drilled out of the waves and finally stepped on the beach with his feet. His entire body was dripping with water. After staggering for a dozen steps, his knees finally gave way and he knelt on the ground. The surrounding area was in chaos. Many survivors also swam to the beach. Some were praying loudly, some were crying, some were sobbing, and some were trying their best to organize the rescue. Hey, get up quickly! Help save the others! Someone ran over and shouted when he saw Zhen Jin. But Zhen Jin didn't respond. His head was buzzing. The whole world seemed to be isolated from him. He was stunned for a while before he regained his senses. A shipwreck! How could this be? Zhen Jin felt like he fell into an ice cave. He wanted to cry but had no tears. There were more and more survivors around. People cried out in grief as they watched half of the pig's kiss completely sink, while the other half was stranded on the beach. There really is a shipwreck. Too unlucky. Wait. Zhen Jin's body trembled. He reached out to touch his waist. After touching the silver lightning, he suddenly felt relieved. Fortunately, it's still here. As for how he wore this sword when he was escaping, Zhen Jin had no memory of it. He was now both glad and scared. The surrounding people began to call the names of their friends and relatives. Zhen Jin also began to search for ZD and other mercenaries in the crowd. He saw some familiar faces, but there was no sign of ZD. My fiancée is in trouble. Zhen Jin felt depressed. The captain is missing. I'm the first officer. This shipwreck was very strange, there was no sign of it at all. Instead of talking about the cause of the shipwreck, I think it's better to think about how to escape from here. Currently, we don't have much food and water. But this island is full of rainforest. There must be plenty of resources. We need to form an exploration team to explore the terrain and find a stable source of food and water. The first officer explained. Zhen Jin hid in the crowd and watched as a group of people was gathered. He watched as Tsang Su took the initiative to ask to join. These people are taking risks. This island is very strange. It actually forbids magic and doqi. The upper limit of the prohibition is unknown. They actually dared to explore. ZD is dead. Scab and the others are also missing. Everything points to disaster. Sigh, I should stay here and conceal my identity. With this layer of disguise, others will only think that I'm a mercenary. It won't be too late to reveal my identity when the family comes to rescue me. Zhen Jin was so angry that he threw the axe in his hand to the ground. All I do is cut down trees all day. I'm a holy knight. How can I do such a thing? Building a ship? How long will it take? It's better to wait for help. I'm the only heir of the 100 Needles family. The chairman of the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce and the priest's scab are also missing. There will definitely be help. What's that sound? Zhen Jin was an iron-rank cultivator. His body's quality was extraordinary. He heard the sound of rustling. He followed the sound and found an old man eating. Old man, you're hiding something? Zhen Jin was overjoyed and approached. The old man sensed Zhen Jin's iron-rank cultivation and panicked. My lord, this is mine. I brought it to the island. I'm too hungry. Please have mercy and don't report me. I'm willing to share these things with you. The exploration team had not returned for a long time. Without a stable source of food, the food reserves could not withstand the continuous consumption day and night, especially when they had to cut down trees to build a new ship. Therefore, the first mate implemented a food control. No one was allowed to steal food. Zhen Jin snorted and kicked the old man, taking away all the food. The old man hugged Zhen Jin's leg. My lord, please do me a favor and give me some food. If I don't eat, I'll really starve to death. Isn't it better for a useless mortal to die? Why waste food here? Zhen Jin was full of disdain. He kicked the old man and walked away. The old man almost fainted from the kick. However, not long after, 3 crew members found Zhen Jin. Hey Wan, I heard you stole food. Don't tell me you don't know the rules? Kid, if you know what's good for you, you'd better obediently take it out. That's right. This is good for both of us. Zhen Jin looked at the leader of the crew. The other party also emitted a black iron-rank aura. It must be that old man who told me the secret. Damn it. The crew has more people. I don't need to fight them head-on. When the family comes to help, I'll definitely teach these damn guys a lesson. Calculating in his heart, Zhen Jin smiled and said, I have another way. It's better for both of us. As he spoke, he took out 3 gold coins. The 3 crew members saw the gold coins and their eyes lit up. Good, this is indeed better. Kid, you're smart. Is being a mercenary so profitable? Zhen Jin smiled and said, I just want to make friends with all of you. I also hope that all of you will be more convenient in the future. The crew members laughed. The leader patted Hei Wan's shoulder and said, Kid, you're very sensible. After the crew members left, Hei Wan swept his hand over the shoulder that was patted with disdain and said, This group of low-level trash. 3 gold coins is enough to send you away. When the family comes to help, you'll all regret your attitude today. The food reserves had dropped to the warning line. The first exploration team had gone missing. The first mate tried to form a second exploration team. I will now announce the results of the draw. The person whose name I call will be a member of the second exploration team. After the first mate's announcement, everyone was in an uproar. Why didn't any of the crew members get selected? I doubt the fairness of this draw. Redraw. Zhen Jin hid in the crowd and looked at the people around him, who were filled with righteous indignation. He had the attitude of watching a good show. He did not get on the list. Instead, he used gold coins to bribe the relevant crew members. Late at night, Zhen Jin was woken up. What happened? Someone took the lead and started fighting with the crew. What? Zhen Jin was shocked. He hurriedly brought Silver Lightning to watch. He saw Zhonggu take the lead and easily defeat the big guy. He also killed the first mate in front of everyone with the sparrow fan as a witness. This half-beast is too strong. His equipment is also very good. Qi and magic are forbidden here. Instead, this half-beast became the strongest person with his dirty bloodline. It's right for me to hide my identity. Who knows how much hatred these half-beast and half-elf bastards will have for people like me. This group of crew members are all trash. This thing grew so big for no reason. It doesn't have any martial arts skills. Hateful. The crew members have lost their power. The gold coins I invested are going to be wasted. Zhonggu replaced the first mate and started to control the situation here. However, every night, the survivors were attacked mysteriously. People died tragically one after another. Damn it, really damn it! Zhen Jin cursed. What the hell is this thing that killed these people? Damn it, the rescue is too slow. When will it come? The crew member who had been bribed the most by Zhen Jin quietly came to find him. Hey Wan, come with us. The captain was assassinated, and the mysterious attack on us was probably the work of that half-beastman Mango. We plan to use the opportunity of forming an exploration team to slip away together. Who is it? Zhen Jin was shocked and took the initiative to hand over a gold coin. The crew member was happy and replied, Sir Shi Suo, the shipwright Mu Ban. To tell you the truth, only the old shipwright can build a new ship. You understand? Zhen Jin nodded. I understand. Zhen Jin felt humiliated to be below the half-beast. Mysterious attacks happened every night. The living environment was very bad. Zhen Jin did not want to stay here. Shi Suo, He Wan and the others mixed in with the exploration team and secretly set off. However, they were quickly discovered and Zhong Gu led the team to chase after them. During the chase, a teleportation occurred. They accidentally found a strange camp. Shi Suo shouted, This must be the arrangement of the gods. They let us get rid of the vicious enemies and even gave them a temporary camp. The camp was repaired, but soon it was attacked by the bat monkeys and the strong white rhinoceros. No, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. Zhen Jin roared. An extremely strong desire to live filled his chest. This place is finished. If we stay here, we will definitely die. Zhen Jin gritted his teeth and suddenly turned around. He bent his waist and ran out of the wooden house. In the life and death battle with the bat monkeys, Zhen Jin unexpectedly received support. There are people. He was overjoyed. He did not dare to look back and ran with all his strength in the direction of the darts. Running madly, Zhen Jin quickly entered the forest and found a few people standing under a tree. It's not Shi Suo and the others. Wait. Zhen Jin could not believe it and was overjoyed. He actually found ZD, his fiancée, was still alive. His eyes lit up, revealing a surprised and happy expression. He blurted out, Z, it's He Wan. At the same time, ZD saw He Wan's face clearly and whispered, He's a member of the mercenary group I hired. Zhen Jin was stunned. Lord Zhen Jin, the people in the wooden house should be from the Pig's Kiss. ZD said to the young knight beside her. That person? It's my substitute. Zhen Jinshin suddenly realized. The young knight nodded. I have to save them as soon as possible. You guys stay here. He quickly moved forward, and in a few breaths, he was in front of Zhen Jin. He quickly sized up the dark-skinned young man. Can you still fight? Zhen Jin stood in place, staring blankly at the substitute in front of him. He really looks like me. He was full of emotions and did not respond for a while. The young knight shook his head. It seems that he has lost his courage. He had seen the scene of Jinzhen running away with his own eyes. The young knight rushed to the camp and Zhen Jin hurriedly stopped him. Don't. You are my substitute, don't lose your life because of these idiots. Don't take the risk, come back and protect me. But in the next moment, Zhen Jin saw the strong fighting power of the substitute. Zhen Jin stared at the back of the substitute, revealing a shocked expression. How can he have such terrifying strength? I can't use my fighting energy here. Yes, he is a beastman. Before he was transformed, he was a silver knight, and his physical fitness is much higher than mine. How is he compared to Zhongguo? He Wan, ZD, Lan Zhao, and the others walked over. Your acting is quite good. Do you want to continue hiding it? Well, to expose it now, it won't do me any good. I'll just let this idiot substitute work for me. Miss ZD. Zhen Jin collected his emotions and bowed to ZD. This lord is... ZD smiled faintly and was about to answer. Lan Zhao, who had always been silent, spoke first. he is my master, Lord Jinjin. He is Lady Zid's fiancé, the only heir of the Hundred Needles clan, a true holy knight, and the future lord of White Sands City. He is my savior and at the same time your savior. Jinjin? Who is this idiot? It seems like he took the opportunity to take in a slave who worked for him. Not bad. ZD nodded. I hired you to escort me to White Sands City in the Wilderness Continent. Lord Jinjin has always been hiding by my side. The goal was to hide from others and prevent our competitors from maliciously obstructing our journey. When the shipwreck happened, I found Lord Jinjin. Trust me, Lord Jinjin will definitely lead us to leave this island alive. So that's how it is. Jinjin gulped and thought to himself, you are right, my fiancé. The clan's rescue is no longer reliable. Saving myself is the only way out. After repelling the horde of beasts, Jinjin received a warm welcome. Everyone treated him as a hero. This substitute is quite good. Jinjin was secretly pleased. Jinjin secretly found ZD and talked to her alone. My dear ZD, it's great that you are fine. I thought you had met with a mishap. I was so sad those days. Jinjin stepped forward and opened his arms, wanting to hug ZD. ZD took a step back and looked around nervously. Sir, be careful not to be seen by others. Then, she continued in an excited tone, after the shipwreck, a group of people and I were washed to a beach on the other side of the island. Sir, I have been trying to find you these days. We are not fated to die. When I saw you just now, I was so excited that I almost called out your identity. Fortunately, I saw the look in your eyes and I came back to my senses. Jinjin touched his chin. This wonderful misunderstanding suddenly made the grudge in his heart disappear a lot. He said with a smile, it's really easy to communicate with a smart person like you. How is the situation now? Did you send out a request for help? Did you get a response? ZD shook her head and said sadly, there was no response. This island is very strange and dangerous. I had no choice but to awaken my substitute. Without him, I would have died. You did the right thing. What kind of strength does my substitute have? ZD shook her head. He is a werbeast, but the memory infusion is not complete. I found that he can partially transform. As for whether he has more powerful fighting strength, I don't think there is much. ZD described some things in detail. Jinjin could not help but show a disappointed expression. It seems that he can't beat Zhonggu. Someone is coming. ZD immediately reminded him. Jinjin could only end his short conversation with ZD and quickly leave quietly. As the two groups of people continued to communicate, when the substitute took out the armor plate, Jinjin could not help but be shocked. Not good, it seems that Zhonggu has also been teleported here. I have to quickly remind them that this Zhonggu is very dangerous. Sir. Jinjin put his hand on his chest and bowed to the substitute. You are worthy of being a paladin, always upholding the spirit of fairness. But my suspicion of Zhonggu is not without basis. He has undergone strict combat training. Jinjin continued. Everyone looked at each other. Jinjin continued. Every mercenary or every sailor has undergone combat training. The combat training I am talking about is not ordinary training, but military training. Believe me, I am sure that he has served in the army before. Only after going through strict military training and serving in the army will he have the aura of a soldier. I know this better than anyone else. He had never spoken of his opinion before, so the substitute and ZD attached great importance to it. Zhonggu and the others were hiding outside, and Shi Suo, the shipwright, and the others had not returned. The substitute immediately decided to go out and search. The sword is not bad. The substitute returned the thin sword, Silver Lightning, to Jinjin. ZD suddenly said to Jinjin, Hey Wan, I know that your sword is not ordinary. Please give it to Lord Jinjin to use for the time being. Zhenjin was surprised, and his expression changed slightly. This sword is my family heirloom. He did not think about it and directly refused. The substitute smiled faintly. ZD, there is no need to make things difficult for him. Sir, this is not possible. ZD was very insistent. We have just analyzed that Zhonggu is a very strong opponent. He also has a set of high-quality steel armor, and his spear is definitely not ordinary. Sir, if you use an ordinary weapon to fight Zhonggu, it will be no different from being unarmed. Sir, if you fail, the fate of all of us will be very bleak. Sir, if you do not think for yourself, please think for us. The substitute was stunned, and then he smiled bitterly. Zhenjin's head shook. That's right. I should give this sword to the substitute. Zhonggu is very strong, and the substitute needs to be fully equipped. He is fighting for me. If he loses because he lacks a weapon, the one who will suffer in the end will be me. ZD is very considerate. She is thinking for me. If I give the sword to the substitute, I will be in less danger. Sir. Zhenjin thought of this and changed his mind. He took the initiative to hold the thin sword in his hands, and went forward to offer it. This lowly one is ignorant, and my vision is too narrow. This sword will only be able to display its true value in Sir's hands. This is my family heirloom. The sword is called Silver Lightning. It will definitely be able to bloom in Sir's hands. ZD smiled. Hey Wan, for this employment I will pay you double. Zhenjin's face immediately revealed a smile. That's good. I will treat this sword well, and I will do my best to return it to you in one piece. The substitute saw Zhenjin's attitude, and generously took the sword back. Zhenjin smiled proudly. You just have to work hard for me. Zhenjin, the substitute, and ZD successfully rescued Shi Suo, as well as the shipwright and the others. The substitute and Zhonggu confronted each other. Humph! A pretty boy nobleman. Zhonggu looked at the substitute with disdain. His gaze stopped at the thin sword in the scabbard at Zhenjin's waist, and indifferently commented, "But the sword is not bad." The substitute smiled and stared at the broken steel armor on Zhongji's body. "Your armor is also not bad." Zhenjin secretly observed, feeling very nervous, "Please don't fight." Seeing Sandao, Zhonggu, and the others refuse ZD's recruitment, he was almost unable to restrain his anger, and secretly swore, "You bastards, dregs, you actually refuse to be my subordinates. You look down on me. With your status, you think you are worthy? Very good, I will engrave this shame in my heart, and one day, I will make you regret it." Zhonggu made the substitute use prayer to prove his identity, which made the substitute furious. The substitute gripped the hilt of the sword, frowning deeply. His face sank and his eyes became as cold as ice. He shouted in a low voice, "Zhonggu, pay attention to your words. You dare to look down on God. I bear the gaze of the Xingming Emperor. This is the blessing of God. Divine arts are the gift of God, not for show or to prove one's identity. Apologize to me now, right now. Otherwise, you will incur the wrath of a paladin." With that, the substitute took a step forward, approaching Zhonggu. Behind him, Lan Zhao, He Wan, and the others reached for their weapons. ZD reached into her bag, and Blockhead picked up the wooden club, and growled from the depths of his throat. Zhenjin's heart suddenly jumped to his throat, and he was so nervous that he sweated. "Damn it! Why are you so reckless? You can't beat Zhonggu." Zhongji's subsequent retreat made Zhenjin feel that he had retreated from the edge of a cliff to a safe place. This substitute is too brave. The substitute accepted Zhonggu and the others in public, and took the initiative to invite them back to the camp. Zhenjin was so angry that he wanted to stomp his feet. "Aren't you inviting a wolf into the house? You are simply hopelessly stupid." After returning to the camp, Zhenjin once again found ZD in private, and he was very dissatisfied with the substitute's decision. He was angry at ZD. He really thinks he is a paladin. He still talks about fairness and fairness, treating everyone equally. Just like that, he provoked Zhongji's group. Haha, he is simply too stupid. ZD was helpless. Sir, I didn't explain the situation clearly before. When the memory was transferred to the substitute, there was a very serious problem. It is not good for us to refute the substitute's actions. This is your authority, sir. Actually, there is a great advantage to him doing this. This is a perfect disguise. Now, even Zhonggu is convinced of his identity. Zhenjin sighed deeply and was finally persuaded. The logging team and the camp were attacked by the herd at the same time. In the process of defending and counterattacking, the substitute found clues about the mastermind behind the scenes. The substitute had a serious expression. The mastermind behind the scenes is not simple. Not only can he mobilize the bat monkeys and the silver rhinoceros, he also has good tactical skills. This time, he divided his troops into two groups. One group is to restrain us, the other group is to attack the camp. He clearly understands that the camp is our weakest point, and also our most important place. That's right. We must eliminate him. Zhonggu nodded. Then let's go, just the two of us, the others are just burdens. The substitute took the lead, and Zhonggu threw away the broken sword in his hand, and followed closely behind. When Zhenjin saw the two of them leave the camp, he was both happy and worried. This guy is too hard-working. What kind of memory did he leave behind to make him so stubborn? This is too risky. Sigh, I hope he can return safely. Zhonggu returned with the corpse of the crocodile-head hammertail centipede, causing a commotion, but the substitute had not returned. Zhenjin found ZD. We paid a huge price to get this substitute. We can't let him act on his own anymore. He actually went deep into the forest alone. This kind of risk is too stupid. We need to make good use of him, let him protect our safety, and bring out his greatest value. Sir, you are right. ZD had a face of agreement and distress, but what should we do? This, ZD said again. To be honest, I just hope that the substitute can return safely. I am already thankful. Zhenjin sighed again. Sigh, I think so too. Not only did the substitute return, but he also got rid of a blue dog foxwolf, and brought back key information about the mastermind behind the scenes. ZD said, Sir, you followed the herd for a long time, and when the blue dog foxwolf was trying to subdue the blue dog foxwolf, you risked your life in a surprise attack and killed the blue dog foxwolf. Lord Zhenjin, you have solved the threat of the camp with your own strength. You have done very well. The substitute looked at the girl's beautiful amethyst-like eyes, smiled, and reached out to hold ZD's hand on the table. ZD's hand subconsciously shrank slightly, but she still stopped and let the substitute hold it. As expected of my substitute, Zhenjin was also at the meeting and he was proud. Well done, my ass. Damn it, how dare you hold my fiancé's hand? Let go, you bastard. It seems that we need to change our strategy, Mu Ban said. We can't just cut wood, we need to make strong crossbows as soon as possible. Everyone began to discuss how to deal with the magical beast army under the command of the blue dog foxwolf. Zhenjin, however, was still paying attention to the substitute and ZD's hand. Still not letting go? How long are you going to hold it? He was so angry that he wanted to immediately jump up and insert the silver lightning into the substitute's head. But he couldn't. Calm down, calm down. I am only Heiwan now, he is Zhenjin. And the silver lightning is also in his hands. Chapter 176. Inside the tent, Zhenjin and ZD were arguing in a low voice. Tell me the truth, my beautiful and lovely fiancé, the substitute, he didn't touch you, did he? Zhenjin narrowed his eyes and stared at ZD, his whole body emitting a dangerous aura. ZD stared and shook her head, looking at Zhenjin in disbelief. What are you suspecting? Sir. Of course not. No, please wait a moment. ZD stretched out her hand and made a pressing motion. That's not the key right now. I thought that you secretly came here to discuss the blue dog foxwolf and the magical beast army with me. That's what we need to be concerned about right now. Of course I need to be concerned about that, but I also need to be concerned about my fiancé. Zhen Jin's eyes widened, revealing a trace of anger, especially when another man personally held my fiancé's hand in front of me. I haven't even held your hand. With that, Zhen Jin reached out to hold ZD's hand. ZD immediately retreated and withdrew her hand. Zhen Jin grabbed nothing but air. Zhen Jin was about to fly into a rage when the substitute's voice came from outside the tent. ZD, are you asleep? Zhen Jin was startled. Quickly hide. ZD was also alarmed, silently opening her mouth and constantly changing the shape of her mouth to express her meaning. Fortunately, ZD's tent was well furnished, so Zhen Jin quickly hid in a corner. Sir, I haven't slept yet. Please come in and talk. ZD took a few deep breaths and spoke in a relatively calm voice. The substitute opened the door and entered. ZD was wearing a hooded magic robe, which made the girl look even more petite and pitiful. Seeing ZD's expression, the substitute sighed and walked over to ZD. Then, he pulled ZD into his arms. ZD's body trembled slightly, but she did not resist. In a dark corner, Zhen Jin secretly saw this scene. Suddenly, he glared with his bloodshot eyes and almost jumped out. Are you scared? The double comforted him softly. He knew that the blue dog foxwolf had left a huge psychological scar on ZD. With Milord here, I'm not afraid, ZD said softly. Yes, I will always be by your side. The first blue dog foxwolf died at my feet, and so did the second one. The third, the fourth, even if there are more, as long as I'm here, I won't let them hurt you. I promise you. Zhen Jin comforted. ZD raised her head in Zhen Jin's arms. Lord Zhen Jin, I believe in you. As if she had sensed something, the girl's expression changed. Damn it. Zhen Jin gnashed his teeth in the dark. In just a few breaths, he had dismembered the substitute a dozen times in his mind. Oh right. I came to find you because of some blood. The substitute smiled at ZD. I need you to do it secretly. Don't tell anyone before there is a result. Zhen Jin, who was hiding, felt a wave of anger rush from his heart to the top of his head. What do you want? Damn it, you daring thing. You are just a substitute, you are a fake. You dare to covet something that doesn't belong to you. ZD, who was in the substitute's arms, blushed. My lord, what do you want to do? Zhen Jin's pupils shrank when he saw this scene. He felt an unprecedented humiliation. This woman. Ever since he met ZD, he had never seen her reveal such a breathtaking bashfulness. His fiancée, who was revealing a tormented and bashful expression, was being held tightly in another man's arms. Don't misunderstand, I mean. Before the substitute could finish, ZD interrupted him. My lord, you have a nosebleed. The substitute also felt the blood flowing. He was extremely embarrassed. Listen to me, ZD. It's not what you think. Zhen Jin felt like he was about to explode. You're so angry. You're even having a nosebleed. Damn it, when the truth is out, I will definitely castrate you. Castrate you? Zhen Jin roared in his heart. After the substitute left, Zhen Jin immediately jumped out and pointed at ZD, trembling. You just said that he didn't do anything to you. Tell me the truth, don't hide it from me. I'm telling the truth. ZD's face was filled with nervousness and grievance. My lord, how can you not believe me? How do you want me to believe you? You just threw yourself at another man right in front of my eyes. Zhen Jin roared. Lower your voice. Do you want him to hear you? He has a silver cultivation. His hearing is more sensitive than ours. ZD hurriedly reminded him. Zhenjin immediately lowered his voice. But the next moment, he felt that something was wrong, and he felt even more humiliated. I'm your fiancé, I'm the real Zhenjin. Now I have to secretly talk to you, afraid of being discovered by an impostor. My lord, a little impatience spoils great plans. Do you think I want to? Do you think I'm willing to trample on myself like this and play along with a substitute? Aren't I doing this for our current safety and for our plan? Zidi's expression changed, and she retorted sternly. Zhenjin's momentum stagnated. Zidi continued, if the substitute discovers the truth, what do you think will happen? You should know our current strength. Can we control him? No. Not only that, we have to rely on him to deal with Zhonggu and Blue Dog Fox Wolf's magical beast army. Let him mistakenly think that he is you, my lord, let him work for us, let him take the risk to investigate in the forest, let him be at the forefront of the battle, and my lord, you can safely stay at the back. His achievements and reputation are all yours, my lord, aren't they? Zhenjin could not refute. He lowered his head, put his hands on his hips, and panted heavily. His expression was ferocious, sometimes angry, sometimes hesitant. Zidi continued, if he discovers that he is an impostor, what do you think he will do? My lord, do you think he will accept the truth? Or will he kill you and replace you after discovering your identity? Zhenjin's body suddenly trembled, and his eyes were full of fear. Zidi, your reminder is very right. This island is very dangerous, Zhonggu is very dangerous, but he is more dangerous. Hide it. We must continue to hide it. Zidi exhaled a turbid breath. My lord, as expected of you, you did not disappoint me. Throughout history, victors have to bear burdens that outsiders cannot imagine, and bear pressure that others cannot bear. My lord, you have done it. We will succeed, we will leave this place, we will become the lord of White Sand City. A substitute is just a substitute. One day, his disappearance will not be noticed by anyone. No one will know what happened in the process. People will only praise you and marvel at your achievements. You are right. Zhenjin nodded, and then a trace of guilt appeared on his face. I have wronged you, my fiancé. My attitude just now was a bit too extreme. My lord, it is good that you can understand. Everything I have done is for our plan, for our safety, for our future. Zhenjin nodded. Yes, everything is for our beautiful future. Using the Blue Dog Fox Wolf as an opportunity, Zhonggu openly challenged Zhenjin's authority. The content of the competition was the result of each team's investigation of the surrounding military situation. At dawn, Zhonggu led a group of people to investigate, and the substitute was sleeping because of the hard training last night. Zhenjin had already eaten breakfast, and stood outside the tent, waiting more and more impatiently. This damned guy, how long is he going to be lazy? Did he even understand the situation? If I let Zhonggu continue to provoke me, my authority will be seriously weakened. The sun has already risen, and he is still sleeping, still sleeping. No, I have to urge him to act faster. Of course. I will not do it myself. Zhenjin's gaze swept over, and finally fixed on Baya. Baya was not deeply involved in the world, and under Zhenjin's experienced communication skills, he quickly revealed almost all the information he knew. I am really worried for the Lord Zhenjin. Zhenjin sighed, his face full of worry. What is it? Baya asked curiously. Zhenjin glared slightly. Don't you know that the current situation is very delicate? That beast man is up to no good, and actually challenged the authority of the Lord Zhenjin. The situation is like this. Soon, Baya, who had learned the details, became anxious. After Zhenjin appeared, Baya hurriedly went to greet him. Lord Zhenjin. The sun has just risen, and Zhonggu led a group of people to investigate. My lord, I grew up in the forest since I was young. I may not be able to hunt now, but in terms of scouting, I will definitely be able to help you. Baya was very enthusiastic, and took the initiative to volunteer. At noon, Zhenjin led the team back to the camp for lunch. Zhenjin was indignant. This damned guy, must he not know the situation? He actually has the leisure to come back for lunch. Hurry up and investigate. He secretly told Bai Ye about Zhongji's effort. Bai Ye reported to the substitute worriedly, "Lord Zhenjin, we did not see Zhonggu and the others return. They should have brought food and eaten outside." In the evening, when the sun had just set over the canopy, the substitute had already returned to the camp. Bai Ye reported again, "My lord, Zhonggu and the others have not returned yet. They are doing their best. It's not easy for them." The substitute sighed. Bai Ye was really anxious. "My lord, we can also bring some dry food and continue to investigate at noon. We don't have to waste precious time going back and forth to the camp." That's a good suggestion. Let's do that tomorrow." The substitute readily agreed. "They're finally starting to work hard." Zhenjin secretly sighed in relief. Then, he felt sullen, like a mouthful of phlegm that was stuck in his throat. He could not spit it out no matter how hard he tried. This was too uncomfortable. This damned guy, using my name and enjoying everyone's praise. He even coveted my beautiful fiancée and took advantage of me. I still have to worry about him and secretly help him? Heavens, why did it become like this? For Zhenjin, this experience was really terrible. After Zhenjin was done worrying, the substitute took out a complete map. The results of the investigation completely surpassed the efforts of Zhonggu and the others. Zhenjin secretly found ZD. How could he have such a comprehensive map? My fiancé, don't tell me that he is a knight blessed by my lord. This is a gift from my lord. Zhenjin questioned ZD. ZD shook her head, her eyes full of confusion. I don't know the specific situation. The appearance of this map is far beyond my expectations. But this is also quite good, isn't it? Zhonggu failed the challenge. He lost very badly. No. Zhenjin shook his head. This is very wrong. He is getting out of our control. If this continues, it will become more and more dangerous. ZD was puzzled. My lord, hasn't he always been out of our control? Indeed, this degree of control is very weak, but I think it can make him do his best to the greatest extent. No, it's not like that. Zhenjin continued to shake his head in denial, his expression becoming more and more serious. I'm talking about the trend. He is more difficult to control than before. Why would he take out such a comprehensive military map? Even the size of the beast horde was clearly investigated? He even dared to use my lord's name to publicly deceive us. We know the truth. He must have methods and abilities that we don't know about. ZD nodded. My lord, your worries are very reasonable. He is a werbeast. He can freely control part of his beast transformation. I guess that this should be the method he used to obtain the results of his investigation. What on earth can he transform into? Jean Needles asked. I don't know, ZD said. You don't know? Zhenjin stared, his face full of suspicion. ZD smiled bitterly. My lord, he had it custom-made. Although the arms dealer agreed to my custom-made request, he also told me that he couldn't guarantee anything else. It's like how a person can't swim and sleep at the same time. According to my understanding, this should be the limitation of the beast transformation technology. You mean that the arms dealer doesn't know what his specific abilities are? Zhenjin had a thoughtful look on his face. Yes. The arms dealer said that it's already not easy for him to meet our custom-made standards. Also, my lord, you should know that ordinary werbeasts are one-time consumables. Once their beast transformation is triggered, they will go berserk and go crazy, slaughtering the most threatening target. They have no concept of teammates. Therefore, the arms dealer won't thoroughly examine the werbeasts they create, because once their beast transformation is triggered, the werbeast will be wiped out. The substitute can partially transform and freely control it. This is a rather rare werbeast. In fact, I've always thought that if the arms dealer discovered it, they would forcefully take it back and not sell it to us. At the very least, they wouldn't use the previous price. Zhenjin stared at ZD for a long time before nodding and accepting ZD's explanation. He sighed helplessly. It seems that it's our luck to have him. The situation around the camp was very clear. The substitute and Zhongji's competition had changed to exterminating groups of beasts. Using the smoke created by ZD, the substitute, Zhonggu and the others worked together to deal with the largest group of bat monkeys. In this battle, the substitute's performance was extremely eye-catching. Almost all of his crossbow arrows had missed, and his killing efficiency was undeniably the best. Even Zhonggu looked askance at him, sighing inwardly that he was indeed a descendant of the 100 Needles family. Although he had practiced his archery for many years, he immediately paled in comparison to the substitute. Zhen Jin secretly competed with him, but he also lost. Damn it! Zhen Jin secretly clenched his fists. After his unwillingness, he sneered disdainfully. What am I thinking? He has a silver cultivation, and I'm only black iron. It's normal to lose to him. But no matter how strong you are, you're just my substitute. Everything you do now is my battle record. What's the background of the arms dealer who modified him? How could he have such powerful archery skills, and even surpass me, a descendant of the 100 Needles bloodline? Maybe. Before the modification, he was already a knight with extraordinary archery skills. Zhenjin secretly found ZD again. He went straight to the point. I heard that someone made a set of alligator head hammertail centipede leather armor and gave it to him? I want it too. ZD smiled. Sir, please don't worry. I've already remembered that there will be equipment for you. But the first set will still be given to the substitute. After all, he's the one on the surface. As long as the new alligator head hammertail centipede leather armor is made, I'll definitely give it to you first. After all, Hei Wan's identity is a mercenary I hired. Of course I'll give it to my own people first, right? Zhenjin couldn't help but smile, satisfied with ZD's answer. But then he frowned. I heard the news. The substitute actually picked up a big bargain last night. He got the silver-level bat monkey and a whole group of flying squirrels. How did he do it? ZD shook her head. The map is a clue. We've already confirmed that he has a powerful investigative ability. Maybe it's this investigative ability that helped him, allowing him to seize the opportunity and take advantage of the battle between the silver-level bat monkey and the flying squirrel group. Zhenjin sighed. He's getting more and more overboard, repeatedly using my lord's name to do things. Every night he goes out to patrol, which is very strange. He has a lot of secrets on him. Yes, sir, you're right. However, no matter how many secrets he has, he's still kept in the dark, isn't he? ZD said with a smile. Zhenjin also smiled, and his eyebrows relaxed a little. You're right. The magical beast army led by the two blue dog fox-wolf began to attack the camp. Everyone heard the substitute's loud prayer. Great Xingming Emperor, my God, my lord. Your knights will go to war and carry out your teachings. Thanks to your grace, I'm fully armed. I'm wearing the belt of integrity, the breastplate of bravery, the shoes of safety, and the helmet of salvation. However, the night is like a fog blocking my vision. God, please give me a pair of bright eyes, let me see the enemy clearly, let me lead everyone to victory. There was no movement. This idiot. Zhenjin anxiously glared. Do you really think you're a holy knight? You actually dare to pray in front of everyone? Even the leader doesn't dare to pray casually. When Zhonggu also thought that the substitute had made a mistake, the substitute suddenly trembled and opened his tightly closed eyes, letting out a cry of surprise. I saw it. Zhenjin immediately turned around and ordered everyone. Quick, there are 2 blue dog fox-wolf in the magical beast army. Now they've split up. One is leading a large army straight to the camp's gate. The other is leading a group of flying squirrels to circle around and attack the side of our camp. Zhenjin was stunned for a moment, then realized, so he's found out. How did he find out? I didn't see him transform? No, he shouldn't transform, not even partially. If others saw him, what would they think of me, Zhenjin? But tonight's battle will be extremely dangerous. If I don't transform, I'll lose and die, then I'll transform. After that, I'll have to stand up and redeem my reputation. However, the battle that followed was an eye-opener for Zhenjin. Looking at the substitute killing in all directions, Zhenjin realized more. I underestimated his combat power. If that's the case, he can really compete with Zhonggu. No wonder he was so confident before and made me worry for so long. The previous investigation also said, this damn guy. Because of the sudden attack of the underground sandworms, the survivors were at a disadvantage. Run. The substitute rushed over and shouted at Zhenjin and the others. Zhenjin was stunned for a moment, then immediately ran away from the ballista without hesitation. The next moment, the ground broke open and the sandworms attacked, swallowing the ballista and spitting out countless fragments. Zhenjin was covered in cold sweat and was scared. I almost died. I was saved by the substitute? Well done. Sangsu, ZD and the others were hiding in the central wooden house. ZD, Sangsu, run out. The substitute shouted anxiously, then immediately got up and ran towards the wooden house. ZD, Sangsu and the others had been observing the situation outside. They had just seen the giant underground worms, and when they heard Zhenjin's shout, they opened the door and ran out without hesitation. The underground sandworms attacked again. Zhenjin was overjoyed. He saved my fiancée again. He loudly suggested to the substitute, Sir, the camp can't hold on any longer. Let's break out. The substitute shook his head, not discouraged. The predicament in front of him stimulated his fighting spirit. Hey Wan, you are responsible for breaking out. Protect the lives of ZD, Sangsu, Muban, Shipwright and the others. They are very important. The substitute used ultrasound to investigate and found that the giant underground worms were attacking the ballista again. This time, the young knight did not miss. He took advantage of the time when the giant worm was swallowing the ballista to deeply stab the giant worm's body. The giant worm did not tremble, as if it was not the one that was stabbed. It directly retracted back into the ground with the thin sword Silver Lightning. Where is my sword? Zhenjin was dumbfounded. My family heirloom sword, my Silver Lightning. Substitute, you idiot! He roared in his heart. Let's break out quickly. ZD came over to remind him. Zhenjin fiercely gritted his teeth. Compared to the sword, his life was more important. The camp burned fiercely, the flames soaring to the sky. ZD had a worried expression. Lord Zhenjin, is he not back yet? Zhenjin was stunned for a moment, then immediately realized that his fiancée was referring to the substitute. He was also very worried in his heart. After all, it was his substitute. The substitute, covered in blood, finally appeared in front of everyone. Seeing that he was seriously injured, Zhenjin sighed inwardly. He fought too hard. But you really did a good job. I am very satisfied with you as a substitute. With the help of the flames, I defeated the blue dog foxwolf, but I couldn't kill it and let it escape. The substitute explained to everyone. Don't say any more, let me see your injuries. ZD came in front of the substitute, her voice choked with sobs. She stretched out her slender hand, carefully reaching for Zhenjin's leather armor, wanting to take off the tattered leather armor. The substitute, however, stopped her. Zhenjin looked at this scene speechlessly, quietly clenching his fists. His heart was filled with jealousy, but he took the initiative to comfort himself. She was just acting. It's fake, it's all fake. Chapter 177. Zhongguo handed the rapier to the substitute. Sandow, who was behind Zhongguo, explained, "The blue dog fox wolf organized a final attack at the main gate, and the giant underground worm also participated. However, it encountered Master Zhongguo and was defeated by him again. It was Master Zhongguo who saw the rapier in its body and took the risk to jump into the deep pit to retrieve the rapier." Zhenjin breathed a sigh of relief. "It's finally back. I was worried that Zhongguo would keep the rapier in his hands." The substitute nodded and looked at Zhongguo. "It must have been a wonderful battle. Thank you. It came back just in time. Now we can pursue it." "What? We still want to pursue it?" Zhenjin was secretly shocked. However, the substitute's next words were reasonable. If they left it alone, it would be more dangerous in the future. It was better to attack now. The remaining magical beasts were very weak. The substitute asked for help, but wherever he looked, people would lower their heads or turn to look at the people next to them to avoid his gaze. The substitute was very firm. "Okay, you have your own choice. I won't force you. However, even if I'm alone, I'll still take care of the blue dog fox wolf." "Master!" ZD exclaimed in a low voice. The others were also moved. Zhenjin secretly glared. "You're looking for death, bastard. Do you know how much we paid to buy you?" Lan Zhao, Zhongguo, and Sandow all stood up and chose to attack together with Zhenjin. This group of fools went into the forest to chase the magical beast army. They're looking for death. They're crazy. We just suffered a crushing defeat. Even the camp was burned down. Zhenjin was furious, but he couldn't refute. In fact, he also thought that the substitute's words were reasonable. "At the very least, you have to heal his injuries," ZD insisted and stopped the substitute. "I have to race against time." The substitute shook his head. ZD stared at the substitute, as if she had forgotten everything around her. Her beautiful amethyst-like eyes were filled with tears. "ZD must have been very worried about me when I didn't appear earlier. Actually, I had a lot of confidence, as long as someone attracted the firepower for me. But I can't tell her this. I can only make her worry about me." The double also stared at ZD. A sense of guilt, as well as a strong sense of affection, rose in the double's heart. The next moment, the substitute slowly embraced ZD in his arms. When Zhenjin saw this scene, his eyes immediately spat fire. "Hugging again. You're hugging my fiancée again. And this time in front of so many people. You're dead, you're dead." Zhenjin was furious, roaring in his heart. ZD's body trembled slightly. Zhenjin pressed his nose against ZD's ear and said softly, "Wait for me to come back. I promise you, I will come back." After saying this, Zhenjin let go of ZD and turned to leave. Zhongguo and the others followed closely behind. The others were stunned speechless as they watched the four of them walk away. Zhenjin was panting, so angry that he felt dizzy. "Hurry up and die, I don't want to see you again. It's best if you die together with those two evil blue dog fox wolf. That's what a hero is." Someone sighed from the bottom of his heart. These words touched the deepest part of Bai Ye's heart. The young man shouted, "Sir, wait for me." Bai Ye rushed out of the crowd, no longer hesitating. At this moment, the spirit of adventure and glory filled his heart, making him lose his mind. "Quickly stop him," ZD immediately ordered. "Go rest, brat." Shi Suo gently hooked his foot, tripping Bai Ye to the ground. "You're going to die." Bai Ye got up, still wanting to follow Zhenjin. "I want to become a knight. How can a knight retreat?" "Courage is not foolishness, young man." Sang-Su sighed and persuaded, "Maybe one day you will become a knight. But you're just a mortal now, and this is the romance of a knight." Bai Ye still wanted to say something. "Shut up." Jin knocked Bai Ye unconscious with a single strike, his face filled with shame and anger. "You want to seek the glory of a knight?" "Humph." Jin coldly snorted in his heart, feeling more and more angry. This anger was complicated. Even he didn't realize that his anger was mixed with admiration and envy for the substitute. Just as the substitute, Zhongguo, and the others were chasing the blue dog fox wolf, Zhen Jin and ZD quarreled again. I don't want to see you throwing yourself at him again, you know what I mean, Zhen Jin sternly warned ZD. ZD shook her head, looking at Zhen Jin with an innocent and wronged gaze. Sir, please don't use such words, I've never thrown myself at him. I know, but you've never refused. Zhen Jin walked in circles, looking very irritable. Sir, if I dodge, won't it be too suspicious? ZD retorted. How do you want me to deal with it, so that we can continue with our plan? Please teach me. Jin Zhen was speechless. He became angry out of humiliation. I don't care about that. Do you know? When he hugged you, I could barely control myself. Anger rushed to the top of my head, and every time, I had the urge to kill him and everyone else. Lord Zhen Jin. ZD shook her head, looking speechless. I understand, but can you put away your jealousy? He doesn't deserve to make you jealous. He's just a substitute, a pitiful tool that we kept in the dark. Everything he did was to pave the way for you in the future. After ZD's persuasion and comfort, Zhen Jin finally calmed down. I forgot myself. You're right, he's just a tool. A very useful tool. But it's a pity. He probably won't come back this time. ZD was taken aback. Then, she revealed a sad and worried expression. Zhen Jin keenly caught the change in ZD's expression, and he suddenly had a bad feeling. Wait. He stared at ZD. What are you thinking? My fiancé, are you worried about him? Worried about a substitute, a chess piece? ZD immediately glared, and her previous expression suddenly disappeared. My lord, what's wrong with you? Am I wrong to be worried about him? If he dies, all our previous investments will go down the drain. It will also have a great impact on our future. After all, he's a silver knight, and you're only a black iron knight. A strong sense of shame and anger suddenly rushed to Zhen Jin's head, and he couldn't help but stare at ZD. I'll become a silver knight sooner or later. ZD seemed to realize that she had said something wrong, and hurriedly tried to remedy it. My lord, your talent is obvious, and being a gold knight is definitely not your end. I'm sorry, I'm just nervous. If the substitute dies, how can we guarantee our safety? How can we escape from here? Zhen Jin's attention was drawn to his own safety, and he didn't have the mood to argue with ZD. You're right. He sighed deeply. The substitute died a little too early. I think we should keep hope. ZD insisted. I hope so. The hope is really slim. Zhen Jin weakly replied. But when the substitute, Zhongguo, and the other three all returned triumphantly, and they also brought back the corpse of the blue dog fox wolf, Zhen Jin was really shocked. Unbelievable, it really worked. My lord. The girl ZD trotted all the way to the substitute, her eyes red, as if she wanted to throw herself into his arms, but in front of so many people, she stopped because of shyness. Seeing this scene, Zhen Jin felt relieved. At the celebration banquet, the substitute became the well-deserved protagonist. People's eyes were fixed on the substitute, and they were talking about the divine knight. Zhen Jin sat in the corner, his heart full of disdain. Divine knight? Ha, if he's a divine knight, I'll swallow him whole. Even Zhongguo was fooled. Half-beastmen really don't have brains. But what kind of beast can actually grow armor? Looking at the substitute being praised, Zhen Jin felt more and more envious, wishing he could be the substitute. Then, Zhen Jin heard Sang Su's words. Lord Zhen Jin himself is an excellent cultivator. His talent is outstanding. He has a noble bloodline, he's a holy knight, and he has dedicated all his faith to the Xingming Emperor. These already make him 1 in a million, but what's more valuable is that he has always adhered to the way of the knights, helping the weak, punishing the evil, and taking care of the weak. Even if he has to sacrifice himself, he doesn't violate the principles of the holy knights. He is brave and fearless, fair and just, willing to accept anyone, and sees everyone as his companions. From this, you can see his broad mind, as well as his compassionate and benevolent nature. Isn't it natural for such a person to receive the blessings of the gods? Zhenjin fell into silence. In his mind, a problem that he found difficult to face suddenly appeared. If it was him, could he do all this? Could he? Humph, this question is meaningless. He's a beast man. He was a silver knight before his transformation. His strength is much stronger than mine. If I had a silver knight cultivation, I could also, probably. Zhenjin became more and more silent. The substitute's voice then spread throughout the camp. So, not only my name, we also have to cheer for Zhonggu, Sandao, Lan Zhao, and our brave warriors. When the substitute distributed the merits and glory to Zhonggu, Sandao, and Lan Zhao, and let everyone chant the names of these three people, Zhenjin was as silent as death, and his face became a little pale. The corpse of the wolf brought back by the substitute was dissected in front of everyone. ZD was very excited when she talked about the perfume. The camp was burned down, and the survivors took the wood and set off. Because of the title of a divine knight, Shi Suo took the initiative to rely on the substitute, and Zhonggu also gave up. After going through the battle together, everyone got along better, and they were no longer in two different camps. It's really done by the substitute. Now, he's the real leader of everyone. Zhenjin sighed. The spiders that were originally blocking the way suddenly mysteriously disappeared. Zhenjin thought of the remaining blue dog fox wolf, and his heart was filled with fear. Could it be that the blue dog fox wolf has actually been secretly following us? The blade spiders won't move randomly, and they won't run away because they're afraid of us. This is their nest. But there was no fighting or killing, and they just disappeared. They must have been taken away by the blue dog fox wolf. It took the initiative to lead the blade spiders away, and its goal is to continue accumulating an army nearby. When it reaches a certain level, it will lead the army to attack us again. A large number of monkey-tailed brown bears also disappeared. The survivors' faces were filled with worry and seriousness. The monkey-tailed brown bears are all gone. There are some traces of battle near the cave, but not many. That blue dog foxwolf is still following us. The magical beast army has grown stronger again. What should we do? During the long journey, diseases spread among the survivors. These sick people, although the severity of their symptoms is different, they are all very similar. Should we give up on these people? Sandao asked the stand-in. Give up? Zhenjin shook his head. Without a shipwright, how can we build a ship? The stand-in insisted on seeing the patients. In this situation, what's the point of acting? The stand-in is too immersed in the act. A leader should ensure his own safety. This is the best way to be responsible for others. Zhenjin secretly scoffed at the stand-in's behavior, and was also worried about it. But unfortunately, he couldn't control the stand-in's actions. The disease subsided, and people began to advocate the stand-in's correct choice and wise leadership. When they reached the beach, Baya found a small barrel of rum. A bonfire dinner on the beach. The survivors' clothes were ragged, their beards were unshaven, and they looked like savages. Baya divided the rum with a serious face. Fat Tongue lowered his head, and bit by bit, drank the rum on the edge of the shell. Sang-Su wiped his eyes. After passing through the jungle, his glasses only had one lens left, and the other side only had an empty frame. Mu Ban held an empty bottle, and his fingers affectionately stroked the surface. This was the human touch. Zhonggu and Sandao whispered with their heads down. The big guy squatted on the ground, quietly listening to the shipwright's song. Lan Zhao still loyally stood behind Zhenjin on the beach. The stand-in looked at the night sky, and tonight's stars dotted the sky. He looked to the east, where the wilderness continent and white sand city were, where his responsibility and future hope were. Zhen Jin looked at the rum in his shell, and sneered in his heart, "Humph, rum. How can I, Zhen Jin, fall to this level?" The rare cheap rum didn't bring joy to Zhen Jin, but a kind of shame. He disdainfully gave the rum to the people around him. He looked to the west, where the Shengming continent was, where his home was. The weather became strange and changeable, and the rain didn't stop. When the stand-in wasn't there, Zhen Jin found ZD and asked, "That night, someone saw you secretly go to the stand-in's tent. What did you do?" ZD was slightly surprised, and immediately said, "I went to deliver the medicine, sir. I came out soon." "Humph, of course I know you didn't stay for long. If not, my attitude would be different." Zhen Jin's face was gloomy. "Why did you take the initiative to go to his tent? He didn't provoke you, but you took the initiative to provoke him." "Medicine, what kind of medicine?" "It's a cold medicine. It's made with a poisonous mushroom as the main ingredient. The medicine is slightly poisonous, but it can raise the spirit. Only people with a high life level can use it," ZD replied. "Why do you care so much about him? Cold? Does he need it?" Before the transformation, he was a silver knight. After the transformation, he's a war creature. He might be even stronger than Zhong Gu. Zhen Jin's gaze became sharp, as if he wanted to see through the deepest part of ZD's heart. ZD shook her head and said with grievance, "Sir, we can't control him now. We need to keep in close contact with him, and use other methods to tie him down. I've been carrying out the plan we agreed on long ago." Zhen Jin's gaze was scrutinizing. "My fiancé, there's something wrong with you." "Then may I ask, what's wrong with me? Everything I've done is for us." ZD's expression changed slightly, and she directly retorted. Zhen Jin shook his head. "You only need to know that I'm Zhen Jin. That's just an impostor. When he's no longer useful, he'll welcome death. This damned island is not the entire world. Remember, you're ZD, the president of the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce. You're also my fiancé." ZD's eyes widened slightly. "I know. Lord Zhen Jin, what are you suspecting me of?" "You're on your own." Zhen Jin's face was cold, and he quietly retreated. "Whether it's the mountains, the seas, the swamps, or the islands, my lord's holy light shines on everything. The Empire's flag will always flutter in the wind and never fall. Nothing can stop me from moving forward. I will obtain glory, and if you follow me, glory will also belong to you. From now on, I'm in charge of this place. Does anyone have any objections?" Everyone was silent. The substitute nodded with satisfaction. He led the crowd and finally gathered the remaining survivors, and successfully controlled them in the first place. At this moment, the substitute showed a domineering and majestic aura that had never been seen before. "Yes, I should be like this." Zhen Jin looked up at the substitute in the crowd. He was yearning, gratified, happy, envious, excited, and at the same time, a trace of fear and hesitation. After dealing with the threat of the underground sandworms and dismantling half of the Pig's Kiss, the shipwright designed a new ship, and the people began to build the ship. At the same time, they cleared out the nearby herd. Zhen Jin, who had been preparing for a long time, finally got the chance. He climbed up a hillside and witnessed how Jin Zhen slaughtered a whole group of scale-horned black panthers after his transformation. "He's actually so strong. Monster, he's simply a monster." Zhen Jin's whole body trembled. Suddenly, the substitute turned his head and looked at him. "He found me. Damn it, run." Zhen Jin's head was beating wildly, and he turned and ran towards the valley. "Why? How did he find me? Did he feel my gaze? Hurry up, hurry up. If I'm caught, I'll be silenced." Extreme fear stimulated Zhen Jin, and he burst out with unprecedented speed. He ran wildly, and soon he was panting and sweating profusely. The canopy behind him suddenly shook, and Zhen Jin heard the movement and turned around to check. "Is there something? It can't be a substitute, right? His speed is so fast. Am I going to die?" Am I going to die? No, don't scare yourself like this. Run, run. He stopped in place for a few breaths, and the canopy that had just shook did not have any other movement. Jean Jin's heart, however, was in turmoil. Am I scaring myself? No. It could also be a substitute. He's hesitating. Yes, he's hesitating. My memory shaped him, and he thinks he's a holy knight. Why would he attack me, his companion? But I saw him transforming into a beast again. Not good, not good. Should I directly reveal my identity? No. This will provoke him and encourage him to kill me. Run, pretend that you didn't see through it and continue to run. Run. Zhenjin exhaled a mouthful of foul air and pretended to be relieved. He turned around and continued to run. A moment later, Zhenjin met up with the other patrol members. Sir Heiwan. The team members greeted Zhenjin. According to the worst-case scenario, there's a substitute behind us. According to the substitute's combat power, the entire patrol team will be killed in 2 or 3 minutes. I have to explain first to calm him down. Zhenjin's thoughts flashed rapidly, and he nodded at the same time. I followed the strange sound and explored for a long time, but I didn't find anything. Let's go back to the camp now. But it's still early. Someone objected. Jean Zhen was furious. What do you mean by early? Do you know that it's very likely that we'll all die in the next second? Forcibly suppressing the strong emotions in his heart, Zhenjin smiled and said, It's about time, and we're already very far from the camp in the valley. If we hurry back, we can have a hot meal. Don't worry, we've already scouted this place. If there's a beast horde, there will definitely be traps that will alert us. Seeing Zhenjin's attitude, the others didn't insist. All right. Let's listen to Sir Heiwan. Someone laughed. I always thought that Sir Heiwan wasn't easy to get along with, but now that I've actually gotten along with you, it's all just a rumor. All right, let's stop talking nonsense and hurry up. Zhenjin couldn't help but urge them. But in his heart, he was roaring, Hurry up and leave, you idiots. If we don't leave now, we'll all die. Finally, Zhenjin and the others returned to the camp in the valley in an extremely uneasy state of mind. Roar. Suddenly, the bat monkey Zhenjin's roar startled the nearby birds, and they all flew into the sky. Zhenjin's entire body quivered, his strong intuition telling him, It's the substitute, it's him. He's probably really been following us all this time, and he's been hesitating whether or not to attack us. Has he finally made up his mind? Is he going to kill me? No. It can't be like this. How can I die here? Being killed by his own substitute? That's too sad, too funny. This commotion attracted the attention of the others. What's that sound? Did you guys hear something just now? It seems like there's a bat monkey roaring. They subconsciously stopped and turned to look behind them. Hurry up and leave, you bastards. Zhenjin roared in his heart. He didn't dare to show any abnormalities. Success was right in front of him, and if he provoked the substitute to kill him, he would definitely be very angry and unwilling when he died. How is that possible? Zhenjin smiled and retorted, Bat monkeys are all in groups, even the wandering bat monkeys that have been exiled by their own group wouldn't dare to go near the valley camp. Let's go investigate? Someone suggested. If you want to die, I won't stop you. Zhenjin wanted to strangle the person who suggested this on the spot, but his rationality kept restraining his impulses. Zhenjin shook his head and tried his best to maintain his calm expression. There's no need. A single wandering bat monkey doesn't pose any threat. Was there really any movement just now? Why didn't I hear anything? The wind is blowing, and the sound of the wind is getting louder. The camp is right in front of us. Aren't some of you too nervous? Everyone knew Heiwan's strength, and since the bronze-ranked elites said so, everyone was relieved. It should be just the sound of the wind. All right, let's go back to the camp. When he officially entered the camp, Zhen Jin's heart was already filled with tears. I'm finally back. I'm really lucky to have survived. No, it's not enough. I have to completely remove any suspicion on myself. If I can't remove the suspicion of the substitute, I might be assassinated in the camp one day. Find ZD. Only she can help me now. ZD knew the situation and stared at Zhen Jin in disbelief. Sir, how can you do this? It's too risky, it's not necessary. What we need to do now is to escape with all our strength. No, how can it not be necessary? Zhen Jin shook his head. We need to investigate, we know too little about him. His current authority cannot be offended. If he really wants to harm us, we won't be able to fight back. He hides too well, he's too shrewd. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would never believe that he has such powerful combat strength. This time, you have to help me. If he assassinates me in the future, we're all finished. You and your Wisteria Chamber of Commerce will be completely destroyed by my father's anger. ZD smiled bitterly and shook her head. Lord Jinjin, don't worry. According to what you said, the substitute has been following you all the way. But he didn't kill you all the way, you're safe. No. Zhen Jin immediately retorted, what if he changes his mind in the future? I'm still very dangerous, we have to find a way to remove his suspicion of me as soon as possible. You don't understand him, my lord. ZD sighed. Zhen Jin stared at ZD. I don't understand him, but you do? Why do you think he won't kill me? Why? Is it because you have a close relationship with him that I don't know about? Or do you think it won't matter even if he kills me? Haha. ZD, I have to tell you. If I die, a large number of letters will be found in a few days. They will contain our secrets, the truth about the substitute. How can I not take any precautions when I go to spy? ZD's expression changed. My lord, you're playing with fire. Where are the letters? Zhen Jin laughed. The letters are specially made, you won't find them easily. ZD took a deep breath. Lord Zhen Jin, please calm down. I will help you, because we're on the same side. Don't do anything drastic, can you calm down first? If I continue to calm down, I might be killed and replaced by the substitute. Zhen Jin growled. How is that possible? ZD rolled her eyes. No matter how much he resembles you, even if he has the same bloodline as you, he can't replace you. The Empire has a strict censorship system, and the dukes are gods who can see through everything. There has never been a case of a high-ranking official being replaced by a substitute. But I'm in danger now. If he changes his mind and wants to kill me, who can protect me? Zhen Jin continued to growl. The great pressure of death made him hysterical. Wait. Zhen Jin narrowed his eyes. Your reaction is strange, my fiancé. You don't seem to worry about my safety at all. I'm your fiancé. Our marriage has already been announced. If I die, your Wisteria Chamber of Commerce will be done for. What did you just say? I don't understand the substitute. You trust the substitute too much. Do you really think he's a knight? A divine knight? Wait. Zhen Jin's eyes became sharp. He stared at ZD's eyes and asked with difficulty, Don't tell me you've fallen in love with him? ZD rolled her eyes. She was obviously going crazy. My lord, what are you thinking in your head? I've fallen in love with him? A substitute? A werbeast? Ha! Zhen Jin sneered, his face full of suspicion. Yes, how ridiculous. Falling in love with a substitute, falling in love with a werbeast. That's too unwise. It's not something a chairman of a chamber of commerce should do. But love, it's hard to say. When love gets to the head, even the most rational person in the world will become a hopeless fool. It's dangerous, ZD. Your current behavior makes me feel that you're in danger. I hope you can see reality clearly. Even if you've fallen in love with him, it will only be a tragedy between the two of you. Think about it. When he learns the truth, when he learns that he's not a Templar knight, but a lowly substitute, when he learns that the person he loves the most, who he always thought was his fiancée, is actually the one who deceived him the most. What will he do? What will he think of you? ZD held her breath. Chapter 178. Stop, stop, stop. ZD stretched out her hand. My lord, please stop fantasizing about being persecuted. I've had enough of it. ZD tucked her hair behind her ears and took a deep breath, trying to stabilize her emotions. After a few breaths she said, I have a way, I have a way. Lord Jinjin, you must calm down and listen to me. Only expose a part of it? Let him think that I didn't see it clearly? This is indeed a way. Jinjin nodded, agreeing with ZD's plan. After a meeting, whether it was the stand-in or Jinjin's crisis, it was temporarily resolved. The next day, Jinjin led a team to investigate the battlefield again, but found that it had been cleaned up. After the report was sent back, the higher-ups discussed again. ZD looked at the substitute worriedly. My lord, you were still on night patrol last night. Please don't do it again, okay? A huge magical beast army is probably lurking around us. That blue dog fox wolf probably learned its lesson and subdued a new type of terrifying magical beast. My lord, although you have the power of the soul, you are still alone in the middle of the night. The substitute's heart was heavy. The person who cleaned up the battlefield was of course him. This woman. Jinjin lowered his head, hiding his gloomy expression. Lady ZD's words are very reasonable. Master, your personal safety is related to the overall situation. All this time, it was because of you that we were able to reunite, build ships together, and work together to escape. Without you to lead us, we would be scattered. You have a noble status, you shouldn't personally take the risk. Lan Zhao also advised. Song Su and the others nodded one after another. Even Zhonggu said, Holy Knight, we can all understand your feelings and know that you are brave and never shirk your responsibility as a leader. But because of this, we have to be even more careful. If you are surrounded by the magical beast army in the middle of the night, or if you are attacked by that mysterious magical beast, it will be a huge blow to your side. When two armies are at war, the commander-in-chief can't run around as he pleases. How laughable and pathetic! If they knew the real identity of the substitute, what kind of expression would they have? Jinjin sneered. There was a lot of progress in the construction of the ships, but the big guy went crazy, earthquakes and volcanoes erupted, and more magical beast army kept besieging the valley camp. In this difficult situation, the new ship was finally built. During the celebratory banquet, the substitute quietly left. Where is he going? Jinjin secretly followed. Soon, he found Jinjin and the big guy sitting on the hillside. Birds of a feather really do flock together. A war-creature and a half-giant, they're both monsters. Jinjin sneered and returned to the banquet. But under the double attack of the earthquake and the magical beast army, the new ship was still destroyed. At the critical moment, if not for many people suddenly turning into beasts and counterattacking crazily, Jinjin would have died in the mouths of the beasts. On his deathbed, the old shipwright still couldn't let go of the big guy and pleaded with the substitute with his eyes. Don't agree. With such an idiot, what kind of noble reputation do I have? Jinjin was extremely opposed, but there was nothing he could do. He watched helplessly as the substitute agreed and successfully coaxed the big guy. It's disgusting to see two monsters sympathizing with each other. Jinjin secretly despised. Their war-creature companion was dissected. ZD suspected. The arrangement of the island master can subtly change all kinds of life forms on the island. I'm afraid this is the reason why our companion turned into a war-creature. Don't tell me I've also been affected? I've been on this island for so long, maybe I've also been secretly modified. Jinjin was terrified, and Song Su's conjecture that these strange magical beasts might have been humans in the past made them feel even more cold. Zhenjin grabbed his curly hair and cursed, "I've really had enough of this damned place. What's the point of guessing so much? Let's quickly fix the ship and leave here as soon as possible." The reality was very cruel. The new ship was destroyed and could not sail. There was another huge earthquake, the ground cracked, and a brand new long river appeared in front of everyone. ZD proposed to go to the volcanic area and attack the center. No. Zhenjin shook his head and said, "We can wait for reinforcements. Attacking the center of the island is too crazy. The volcano is erupting there, and there's also the magical beast army along the way. We might even die halfway. We'll use the ship." The substitute's voice came, "This will save us a lot of time and travel." Zhenjin was stunned. "Just now, the Xingming Emperor gave me a revelation." The substitute pointed at the river. Everyone was stunned again. Zhenjin was so angry that he almost wanted to slap him. "Do you think I don't know what kind of background this substitute has? You're still trying to trick us. Could it be that this river was created by the Xingming Emperor? No wonder we didn't die. God's will is unfathomable. Divine Knight." Sangsu bowed deeply to Zhenjin and sighed, "This may be your path to becoming a hero, my Lord Zhenjin." Almost everyone present felt their scalp tingle. They felt like they were witnessing history. If the hero's epic was sung in the future, would they also have a part in it? "It's over. You idiots." Zhenjin was full of despair. "He's not a hero at all. He can mutate into a beast. He's the most terrible threat." The substitute looked around and determined that the people's hearts had changed. He firmly ordered loudly, "It's decided then. Do your best to repair the ship, cremate our companions, and collect as much food, water, weapons, and so on. We will set sail. We will go to the center of the island." No one objected. Zhenjin roared, "Crazy, the substitute is crazy, ZD is crazy, these people are all crazy, they're all seeking their own deaths." They were forced to disembark, and were attacked by the magical beast army. Scab appeared. "Zhenjin, you're finally here." "Scab? He's still alive." Zhenjin was secretly overjoyed. "Sir, we're going to succeed." ZD quietly found Zhenjin. "With Sir Scab's magic, our chances have greatly increased. Scab has already reached an agreement with the substitute. He will fully support you to become the White Sand City Lord. If you make a great contribution this time, it won't just be a city. Although the shipwreck was an accident, it was also full of opportunities. The substitute is working hard for us. As long as we continue, we'll reap great rewards." "Yes, you're right." Zhenjin was worried. "With the substitute in front, we'll be safer. Alas, I hope we'll succeed in the end." "We have no other choice, sir. If we stay here and wait for rescue, the hope is very small." ZD said. "I understand." The two talked for a while, looking at ZD's back as she left. Zhenjin's eyes became deep. Traveling together made everything full of opportunities. Zhenjin finally waited for the opportunity to find Scab in private. "Father, I'm thirsty for a confession." In the confession, Zhenjin confessed everything. "Interesting." Scab could not hide his shock. "Whether it's your substitute or your fiancé, they're both very interesting. Zhenjin, you've made the wisest choice. But for now, let's pretend this conversation never happened. Do you understand what I mean?" "I understand, Reverend Father." Zhenjin bowed deeply. Under Scab's lead, everyone broke through the underground alchemy factory and went all the way to the center. Lightning struck the substitute to death, and Zhenjin held on tightly to ZD, confessing everything to everyone. The man-made magical beasts fell into great chaos, killing each other. Coupled with the narrow staircase, very few could break through. Don't panic, everyone. Revealing the truth is good for you and me. The one who died now is only a substitute. I'm still alive. Zhenjin began to persuade the other survivors. Lan Zhao, you should understand now, I'm your master. Zhenjin looked at Lan Zhao. Lan Zhao was still holding the substitute's corpse, his face lifeless. The truth had completely overturned his understanding. Zhenjin turned to Bai Ye and the others and smiled. I'm very happy that you're willing to follow me. I swear on my status as a holy knight and my reputation as a noble that your loyalty will be rewarded. Follow me and you'll get the glory and wealth you want. Heavens, what's going on? Bai Ye held his head, his thoughts in chaos. Sang Su was silent. The orc repelled the magical beasts that rushed up and snorted coldly. Shut up, you coward, what qualifications do you have to lead us? Your substitute is more like a holy knight than you are. Zhonggu believed Scab and Zhenjin's words, because priests would not joke about faith, but he did not approve of Zhenjin at all. Whether you're the Lord Zhenjin or not, please let go of my president. Fat Tongue's expression was strict. Zhenjin shook his head and grabbed Zidi's arm tightly, refusing. She's your president and she's my fiancée. Zidi was in a daze, her eyes staring straight at the substitute's corpse. Seeing his fiancée like this, Zhenjin suddenly became angry and shouted, Enough, wake up! At this moment, several flying squirrels rushed in. Be careful! Zhonggu warned loudly. Everyone's thoughts were already in chaos, and their morale had hit rock bottom. The flying squirrels' attack immediately made them flustered. Zhenjin pulled Zidi and shot the flying squirrels with his crossbow, while retreating. Zidi had no intention of moving. She even wanted to run to the substitute's corpse, but Zhenjin quickly discovered her and immediately stopped her. Enough! Zhenjin growled. Zidi, it's normal for young people to make mistakes. I've checked your information and know that you have no experience in love. Don't think that this is the end of the world. Think about your Chamber of Commerce, and think about the youth you still have. I don't care about your mistakes. Come with me. We're the most suitable couple, and we need each other. Zidi was still struggling. Zhenjin was helpless and could only whisper in her ear, We'll go up to the next floor now. I don't trust him. He's already lost his mind because of the monstrous contributions. Of course, if it were me, I would do the same. Who would be willing to share their contributions with others? SCA Sand doesn't dare to kill me, but he definitely won't mind if you die. You can only live if you follow me. Besides, SCA Sand is the murderer of the substitute. Don't you want to keep your life to avenge your beloved? Zhenjin could only persuade her in such a desperate situation. Zidi's body trembled, and she finally stopped resisting. She followed Zhenjin to the highest floor of the central tower. The rest of the survivors looked on helplessly. Some of them wanted to follow, but were struck by lightning right in front of them. Chapter 179. Zhenjin successfully brought Zidi to the highest floor of the central tower. Father, what happened to you? Zhenjin could not believe his eyes when he saw Scab again. Scab's hair was white, his body was skinny, and his eye sockets were sunken. It was even more serious than when the four knights gave him the divine weapon. His body's condition was worrying, and his calm yet crazy expression made people's hearts palpitate. Zidi's heart skipped a beat, and she suddenly understood. Scab had squeezed too much divine power from his body. Priests relied on prayer to obtain divine power. The more devout a clergyman was, the higher his rank, and the more divine power he would get with each prayer. The divine power would transform the clergyman at every moment, strengthening their body. However, the number of prayers was fixed every day. Take the Shengming Emperor for example. He usually only had 3 prayers. Once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. The amount of divine power Scab received every day was limited. To invade this central tower, the divine power in his body was far from enough, and it was not yet time to pray, so he could only squeeze his body dry. It's obvious that Scab sacrificed his potential for advancement. His aptitude was greatly damaged, and he even consumed his life force in exchange for more divine power. ZD analyzed in her heart. She suddenly understood Scab's frantic and urgent attitude. He had paid too much, and the price was too high. Even if he escaped with his life, he would become a cripple. When the church chose clergymen, they naturally prioritized aptitude, and he would not live for more than 2 or 3 years. If possible, Scab would not take such a risk. He would not stake everything on a single throw. But there was no other way. This place prohibited low-level magic and do-chi. Other people could not count on him, and he could only go up. If he could not go up, he could not escape. If he could not escape, he would die. In the face of death, what was the point of talking about aptitude, lifespan, and future? As an intruder, it was impossible for him to connect to the central tower with his mind alone. He had to attach his spirit to the divine power, and through the divine power's strong erosion, his spirit would win in the central tower, defeating the tower spirit's control and seizing a portion of authority. Why did Scab desire divine weapons so much? This was because there was only one path in front of him. He had to use the artifact to exchange for great merit, and then use the great merit to exchange for the sect or even the gods to personally take action to save his future. Otherwise, without this monstrous contribution, even if he survived, he would become a cripple, living a life worse than death. Facing Zhen Jin's bewildered gaze, Scab closed his lips tightly. He only glared fiercely at Zhen Jin, unable to divert his attention to anything else. He did not reply. Suddenly, he roared. The next moment, a blue light suddenly lit up on the 4th floor of the central tower. Then, the blue light spread and formed an oval-shaped door of light. Teleportation portal. Both Zhen Jin and the apologetic knights were overjoyed to see this. Ha ha ha! Scab laughed heartily, but soon, because his body was too weak, he began to cough violently. Father, you've succeeded. Let's go now, quickly leave this place. Zhen Jin impatiently urged. Don't worry, I've already snatched half of the teleportation authority from the tower spirit. This teleportation portal is under my control and is very stable. The tower spirit can't do anything to it. Now, I have the final say on who goes first and who goes back. Saying this, Scab stared at Zhen Jin meaningfully. Zhen Jin's head thumped and he forced a smile. Father, you're right. Haven't you always been our leader? ZD's face was pale. Scab no longer looked at Zhen Jin, but ordered the apologetic knights, first, put the green jade gold coffin into the teleportation portal. Yes, sir. The 4 apologetic knights each carried a corner of the green jade gold coffin into the teleportation portal, and finally, the coffin was completely stuffed to the other side of the portal. The artifact was teleported away. During this process, the teleportation portal shook violently, but overall, it was very stable. As for where the artifact was sent to, no one knew except for Scab, who controlled the teleportation portal. Scab's sacrifice was very valuable. He controlled the teleportation authority and firmly held the initiative of the current situation. Very good, very good. Scab revealed a smile, and his originally nervous expression eased a lot. Sending the green jade gold coffin away consumed a lot of magic power. But there was still some left in the magic pool. It was enough to send out another artifact, and in the end, Scab and a few others. Now cast the fairy tale of the mermaid, Scab said again. Just as the apologetic knights were about to move, the tower spirit's voice suddenly sounded. Warning, warning. Detected loss of teleportation authority 55%, 56%, 58%, 59%, 61%. The teleportation portal is opening, the core of the artificial magic beast alchemy array is missing, attempting to close. The teleportation portal cannot be closed. Warning, warning. The loss of teleportation authority has reached 65%. The tower spirit cannot resist, it is losing, it is losing. Everyone was nervous for a while, but soon relaxed. Ha! Scab laughed again. False alarm, victory is already in my hands. But at this time, everyone heard the tower spirit say, Tower spirit requesting support, requesting support. The target of the request did not respond. Warning, the loss of teleportation authority has reached 68%. The request did not respond. Initiating emergency call for help, searching for external support. Beginning detection of authority. Detecting 10th level authority, none. Detecting 11th level authority, none. Ding, detected 18th level authority holder, Miss ZD. The tower spirit of the Mystique Factory is asking for your help, hoping that you can lend a helping hand. Your contribution this time will be recorded. According to your contribution, you will receive the corresponding material reward under the tower spirit's authority. You will receive the goodwill and friendship of the alchemy factory owner. In the future, you will receive a discount corresponding to your contribution when purchasing the factory's product. Do you accept this request for help? Under the stunned gaze of everyone, ZD quickly reacted and replied, Yes. The light of magic sprinkled down, forming a contract array in midair. The next moment, the array condensed and fell on ZD's forehead, forming a tattoo of an array. The tower spirit said, The contract is established. Miss ZD, please assist the tower spirit to defeat the intruder and regain control authority. The priority of the target is as follows. Teleportation authority first priority, weather control authority second priority, artificial beast command authority third priority. No! Scab roared madly and was incomparably furious. He had suffered ZD's attack. The attack was merciless, with a roar of vengeance. The authority that Scab had obtained with great difficulty was quickly lost. The team of powerhouses from the Bloody Judgment Court and the War Traffickers suffered heavy losses, and it could be said that they had perished together. In this tragic confrontation, the tower spirit was also heavily injured, and its condition was extremely bad. As the central brain, it could no longer control the alchemy factory. Most of the time, it was forced to sleep, or it would completely collapse. Therefore, when a silver-ranked priest came to invade the central brain, the tower spirit could not resist at all. To compete for authority, one had to fight with their spirit, and Scab was always at a disadvantage. What really restricted this silver-ranked priest was divine power. He had to use divine power to invade the central brain. The spirit fought for authority, and divine power was the carrier of the spirit. However, the situation was different now. After ZD agreed to help, her spirit was accepted by the central brain tower. She was a mage who had never used magic before, and her condition was very good. Although she was only at the level of black iron, her spirit was far superior to ordinary people. Scab was a priest, and he was already at the end of his rope. He was also resisted, and his spirit had to be attached to divine power to invade the central brain. The result of the confrontation was obvious. ZD, as a new power and proficient in the use of spirit, defeated the spirit left by Scab. Soon after, the portal closed. It was not ZD who closed it, but Scab who saw that the situation was not good and closed it voluntarily. If the portal was not closed, ZD would be able to obtain the specific location of the other end of the portal through this spatial connection. How do you have authority? You've been here before. Scab stared at ZD. Jinjin also looked at ZD, stunned. ZD stared back at Scab without fear, then glanced at Jinjin beside her and sneered. Then, where do you think the Lord Jinjin's substitute was custom-made from? A mere black iron mage. Scab was furious and summoned all his strength, but he had really reached his limit. Even with all his remaining strength, he was still not ZD's opponent. Do you know what you're doing? Do you want to betray the Empire? Jinjin, Do you want to betray your faith? Become a fallen knight? Scab shouted. ZD chuckled and said, Father, please don't be an alarmist. We have never thought of betraying the Empire, and you don't have to accuse the Lord Jinjin of betraying his faith. We have no intention of being enemies, we just want to have a good talk. Scab gritted his teeth in anger. He really wanted to order the 4 Guardian Knights to kill ZD. But the key point was that Jinjin was blocking in front of ZD. ZD had already seen through the situation and used this holy knight as her protective talisman. This arrangement was really powerful, and Scab did not dare to make a move. His head was still slightly dizzy, but Scab knew that this was purely due to anger. But there was no other way, he could only force himself to calm down. What do you want to talk about? Scab asked. About contributions. ZD immediately said, Father, on this journey, we admit that you have contributed the most. But our contributions can't be denied, right? Jinjin reacted and immediately added, his attitude clearly supporting ZD. Now was not the time to pursue the matter of ZD hiding her relationship with the war traffickers. I have never thought of denying your contributions and merits. Scab was so gloomy that it was about to drip water. Then, may I ask, where did the golden green jade coffin teleport to? ZD's words were even sharper than silver lightning. Scab snorted and was extremely dissatisfied. Do you think I will go back and say it easily? ZD sneered. But we had a part to play in obtaining the golden green jade coffin. Sir Priest, you just said that you didn't deny our merits and contributions, but your actions are not consistent with your words. If I was not lucky enough to obtain the approval of the Tower Spirit, Father Scab, would you have thought of abandoning us? Scab's head faintly hurt. ZD's sharpness and toughness surprised him greatly. He shook his head and spat out a mouthful of turbid air. His face was already calm. There is no need to talk about this now. Even if I explain it better, without a foundation of trust, you won't believe me. Just like how I won't believe you when you say the location of the golden green jade coffin. It doesn't matter. ZD smiled. Wait until my spirit completely destroys your imprint, and I have full control of the teleportation authority. I will be able to check the records of the teleportation just now. Scab's face suddenly turned pale. If he had full control of the teleportation authority, he could naturally erase the records of the teleportation. But his teleportation authority had never reached 100%. Haha ZD, well done. Jinjin laughed. Maybe we can make a deal. ZD said again, her tone turning gentle. We have never thought of forcing you, Father. We also admit that Father's contributions far exceed ours. We just want to protect our own share. What do you want? Hurry up and say it. Scab was extremely irritated. He was finally forced by ZD into a corner, and could only choose to compromise. ZD's gaze was deep. It's very simple. As long as Father uses the resurrection technique, you can resurrect Jinjin's substitute who was just killed. What? Jinjin was stunned. He suddenly turned his head and glared at his fiancée. Chapter 180. Jinjin was extremely angry. Any man who saw his fiancée had feelings for another man would be very angry. Jinjin had originally planned to squeeze out the value of the substitute and then let him die a miserable death. But not long ago, the substitute had already died. There was no need to be angry with a dead person. In addition, the situation forced Jinjin to temporarily forgive ZD. But who would have thought that ZD would actually want to revive his substitute? Although Jinjin did not speak again, his eyes seemed to be spitting fire, as if he was accusing her. You can't stop thinking about him like this. What's so good about him? You want to revive your lover in front of me, what do you take me for? ZD comforted him. Lord Jinjin, we must revive the substitute. because after leaving this island, there will be no more environment where magic is forbidden. We will face a silver priest and 4 black iron-ranked apologetic knights. I have already taken back a lot of teleportation rights. If I teleport a second artifact, my magic power will only be enough for a limited number of people to escape. Looking at ZD's sparkling eyes, Zhen Jin felt a chill in his heart. What you said makes sense. Yes, after escaping, if Scab goes back on his words and takes the spoils of war again, we won't have the power to resist. This woman is very shrewd, worthy of being the president of the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce. She thinks further than me. But is she really only doing this for this layer of calculation? Zhen Jin's mood was complicated, and his thoughts were a bit chaotic. Scab sneered. Revive the substitute? Holy Knight, it seems that the relationship between your fiancé and your substitute is not ordinary. When the substitute was killed by me, she was simply asking for death. Holy Knight, do you really trust her that much? She is also secretly in contact with the war traffickers. Aren't you afraid that after reviving the substitute, you will be replaced by him? Zhen Jin snorted. Sir Scab, I am a noble, a holy knight. Don't try to fool me with such words. If it were so easy to impersonate nobles of the Empire, human society would have been in chaos long ago. First of all, it was extremely difficult to forge a bloodline. Secondly, there would be clerics who would use divine spells to verify the bloodline of those who held important positions. Who can deceive the gods? ZD and I are engaged. It's a strict magic contract. If you betray each other, you will have to pay a heavy price. Most importantly, the best target for the Wisteria Chamber of Commerce is the 100 Needles clan. Our interests are aligned. If I die here because of her betrayal, the Wisteria Merchant Guild will be destroyed. As for the secret contact between her and the war traffickers? What does that have to do with anything? Many of the nobles of the Empire even communicated with demons and devils and made deals in private. It's normal for such a large-scale merchant association to have connections with secret figures like the war traffickers. Looking at Zhen Jin, who was speaking with fervor and assurance, Scab was slightly stunned. Originally, he despised the cowardly Zhen Jin from the bottom of his heart, but he did not expect him to be so stubborn at this juncture. His performance was beyond Scab's expectations. Damned nobles. When it comes to their own interests, they often become incomparably shrewd. Do I really have to compromise with these two people? Scab felt that it was absurd, but at the same time, he was very angry. He had paid such a huge price, but in the end it was an outsider who benefited. The priest was extremely unwilling. He then shook his head and evaded. Resurrection? Miss ZD, don't you have common sense in this area? This kind of divine spell can only be used by bishop. I'm just a silver priest. You're just making things difficult for me. ZD sneered. Sir Scab, you can investigate the members of the Pig's Kiss. How can I not investigate your information? In fact, according to your achievements, it's reasonable for you to be promoted to bishop now. You can already use resurrection. This is one of the clear proof of your outstanding talent. Sir Priest, I know much more than you think. Hurry up and act. Impossible. Scab shook his head. I'm just a silver priest. Historically, when I use resurrection, I must be in peak condition. My current physical condition is obvious to all of you. My divine power is not even 1/10 of the resurrection's consumption. If I forcibly use this divine spell, I'll be sending myself to my death. Zhen Jin's expression changed slightly. ZD's eyes flickered with uncertainty. How do you want me to believe you, priest? You can even invade the central tower. Tell me, you don't have enough divine power now? It's precisely because I invaded the central tower that my divine power consumption is huge. I have no need to deceive you. We're not enemies, are we? At best, we're just having some disputes about the distribution of the credit. Scab tried to ease the atmosphere. ZD narrowed her eyes slightly. Sir Priest, do you really not have any divine power? Maybe you have some left over to use against us after teleporting out. This sounds like a good idea. Scab's expression changed. While both sides were talking, his forehead was already covered with sweat. This was because while ZD was negotiating with Scab, she never stopped attacking Scab with her spirit to take back the authority in his hands. Miss ZD, don't go too far. Come here. Scab couldn't hold on any longer. His authority was constantly losing, and his vision was starting to become dizzy. ZD emphasized again, resurrect the substitute, and I can temporarily delay the attack. In your current state, you can't possibly be my opponent, right? You're forcing me to die. Scab was so angry that he was burning with anger. It's hard to imagine that I, the dignified Scab, the Silver Priest, is being forced by a mere merchant girl. This is a monstrous disgrace. Looking at Scab's ferocious expression, Zhenjin turned to ZD and said, maybe we should choose to believe him. After all, forcing Scab to die is also harmful to us. ZD slowly shook her head. I signed a magical contract with the Tower Spirit. I must eliminate or expel Scab's spirit from the central tower. As long as this step is completed, my contract will be considered fulfilled. Not only can we obtain the Tower Spirit's reward, but we can also greatly weaken Scab's fighting strength. Once we leave this island, he won't do anything to you, but he won't have any qualms about dealing with me. Lord Zhenjin, do you think my analysis is reasonable? ZD's words were too reasonable, and Zhenjin could only nod. ZD and the Tower Spirit forming a contract seemed very reckless. But in reality, if they didn't sign the contract, they wouldn't be able to reach this stalemate. The spoils of war would be completely controlled by Scab. So, ZD once again looked at Scab and she urged, death isn't the end, father. As long as you resurrect the substitute, everything can be discussed. Even if you unfortunately die, we will use this monstrous merit to pray to the gods to resurrect you in the temple. Scab sneered, Miss ZD, your thoughts are too vicious. The resurrection spell has a limit. Once the time limit is exceeded, the soul of the dead will dissipate. Without a soul, even if the gods personally use the resurrection spell, they won't be able to resurrect me. How can you guarantee that you can resurrect me in time after I die? Even if we use the teleportation door here, we can only teleport to a nearby island. ZD's face sank. This was also what she was anxious about. If not for this, she wouldn't have forced Scab to use the resurrection spell. Wait, I have an idea. We can take back the divine artifact, the golden green jade coffin. Can't this divine artifact bring back the dead? Zhenjin shouted as he had a flash of inspiration. Scab sneered. Take back the golden green jade coffin and send it out? We don't have enough magic power. Moreover, the golden green jade coffin is a divine artifact. We have no way to activate it. The alchemy array set up by the war traffickers has already been destroyed by more than half. Even if it wasn't destroyed, this alchemy array is only used to transform magic beasts, not to resurrect corpses. If that's the case, Zhenjin frowned, trying his best to think. His face was full of worry. At this moment, ZD once again obtained a huge victory. Scab's expression changed abruptly. He was both shocked and angry. It turned out that ZD had been accumulating power for a moment before suddenly launching an attack. It wasn't to seize the teleportation authority, but to aim for the authority to control the weather. ZD, you're very good. Scab was caught unprepared. He hurriedly resisted with all his strength, ensuring that he had the only authority he had left. The priest couldn't help but have a whole new level of respect for ZD. He originally wanted to rely on the authority to control the weather to negotiate with ZD. He didn't expect the latter to have thought of this and suddenly attacked, intending to take away Scab's trump card. Seeing that ZD's spirit was winning, he was about to lose this bargaining chip. Scab had no choice but to attack in advance. "You forced me to do this," Scab roared, using the authority to control the weather, bursting out bolts of lightning. ZD gritted her teeth and used the authority she had just seized to try to stop the bursting of lightning. Kacha, kacha. The lightning turned from dense to sparse. Where the lightning fell, the man-made magic beasts either died tragically or were heavily injured. "What's going on?" The survivors on the third floor were bewildered. Previously, the conversation between the Tower Genie and ZD had let them know that something had happened on the fourth floor. However, no one dared to take the risk. "Tower Genie, come and help me." ZD saw that she couldn't stop the lightning and could only call for reinforcements. The Tower Genie appeared and intervened in the confrontation between ZD and Scab. However, to their surprise, the Tower Genie didn't directly help ZD. Instead, it took the opportunity to control the lightning and let it escape from Scab's control, turning it into a chaotic lightning. Sandow was caught off guard and was almost struck by lightning. "What happened on the fourth floor?" "Father Scab, why did you strike us?" The survivors fell into chaos. Scab's voice came. "I can't control the lightning anymore. ZD, this is all your fault. Your companions will be struck to death because of you." ZD quickly responded, "Hide near the blood core. Within 3 meters of the blood core, it's a safe zone." Everyone was reminded and quickly shrank around the blood core. Cyanobacteria carried the body of the substitute and rushed over. Zongu and a few others took the risk of dragging the big guy who was still twitching into the crowd. Chapter 181. Lightning continued to strike, reflecting on the uncertain faces of the survivors. The reserves of magic power in the mana pool were rapidly depleted. The survivors were reminded by ZD and retreated to the vicinity of the blood core. They were temporarily safe. However, the man-made beasts suffered one after another. In the midst of killing each other, they were struck to death. However, the number of beasts did not decrease significantly because the tower spirit was still sending reinforcements. ZD's expression changed. "Tower spirit, stop the teleportation. Tower spirit, request denied. Eliminate the intruders. Protecting the central tower is priority." Regardless of ZD's repeated calls, the tower spirit forced it to sleep again. "Damn it." ZD's expression was dignified. The situation had become quite bad. That old fox, SCA Sand, did not look at his appearance. In fact, he still had some strength left. ZD's plan to launch a surprise attack and seize all the authority to control the weather had failed. What was worse was that the tower spirit had interfered and wanted to eliminate everyone except for ZD. The three parties had their own plans and were entangled with each other, resulting in a dead knot. Zhen Jin's face revealed an unconcealable panic. He hurriedly persuaded ZD and SCA Sand, "Calm down, we're in the same group. There's no need to fight like this." "Ah." SCA Sand sneered. "It's too late. The lightning is now out of ZD's and my control. It's completely free to strike. Most of the authority to teleport has been taken back by her. If it was in my hands, the tower spirit would not have the ability to teleport so many beasts in." Zhen Jin's forehead was full of cold sweat. Lightning and teleportation. If this continued, the reserves of the mana pool would be depleted. At that time, no one would be able to leave. "ZD, my fiancé." Zhen Jin turned to look at ZD. In addition to anxiety, there was a touch of pleading in his eyes. ZD shook her head, her eyes cold. "I have no way to return the authority. If I deliberately lose to SCA Sand, the contract will kill me. Only when SCA Sand has no authority can I get away. At that time, when the tower spirit hibernates, I can stop controlling the weather, stopping the lightning and teleportation of beasts. We can win." Zhenjin looked at Scab. Father, take a step back. The sky is high and the sea is wide. The green jade golden coffin is yours. We won't ask about it any more. Ha ha ha! Scab raised his head and laughed maniacally. Why? Along the way I will lead you, heal you, provide you with food, and protect you with divine spells. Without me, you wouldn't even be able to enter this underground alchemy factory. Why should I give the rest of the credit to you? What did you contribute? Despicable merchants, cowardly nobles. Do you think you can force me to submit just because you suddenly betrayed me at the last moment? Zhen Jin's eyes widened. Sir Scab, can you please calm down? If no one gives in, we will all die. You're the only one who can back down now. My fiancée has a contract with her. SCA sneered and stared at Zhen Jin and ZD with a mocking gaze. Why can't your fiancée back down? But I have to back down. Besides, who knows the specific contents of the contract? Temple Knight, are you sure your fiancée didn't deceive you? Zhen Jin was stunned. In the end, the three sides seriously lacked trust in each other. At first, it was just a battle of interests, but now the three sides couldn't back down. The situation was out of everyone's control. They were all riding a tiger and couldn't get off. Sir Scab, Miss ZD, please be rational. That's right, unnecessary internal conflict will only allow the pagoda spirit to succeed. The war trafficker is already dead. We can already escape. If the result is mutual destruction, then it's not worth it. The few Guardian Knights were also panicking. Scab sneered, his bloodshot eyes revealing a strong killing intent. Then let's kill ZD first. As for Zhen Jin, it's fine as long as he doesn't die. The Guardian Knights hesitated and gradually moved. As Guardian Knights, their duty was to protect the church. They weren't willing to fight with the Temple Knights. However, the current situation was already tense. Killing ZD, as long as it took Zhen Jin's life, seemed to be the best choice. Moreover, they had always listened to Scab's orders. Zhen Jin looked at the Guardian Knights who were ready to move and suddenly became nervous. If they really fought, it would be difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. It would be difficult to protect ZD's safety. ZD, let my voice pass, Zhen Jin said to ZD. So in the next moment, the survivors heard Zhen Jin's shout. Zhonggu, Sandao, Lan Zhao, and the crew, I, Zhen Jin, as a Temple Knight, the only successor of the 100 Needles family, summon you, recruit you. The Empire's flag flutters above our heads. The glory will be bestowed on you. Quickly come up and fight side by side with me. I, Zhen Jin, swear on my own reputation that I will not treat you unfairly. The crowd was in turmoil. Previously, the conversation between ZD and Scab was not spread outside. It was only limited to the 4th floor. Everyone only saw the lightning and teleportation, but they knew nothing about the inside story. Now that Zhen Jin summoned them, they were bewildered. What's going on? What happened upstairs? Did they encounter an enemy? Could it be that a modified magic beast was teleported? Zhen Jin's temporary recruitment had no effect. None of the survivors moved. It's useless. ZD's face was gloomy. This is why I resurrected a substitute. Damn it, I am Zhen Jin, a Temple Knight. Zhen Jin gritted his teeth. In order to encourage this group of people to fight against Scab and the Guardian Knights, he deliberately spoke vaguely. The crowd was indifferent, which made Zhen Jin feel ashamed. Now that Scab had lost the authority to control the weather, he could no longer use lightning to target a specific target. However, the random lightning strikes became more threatening in the eyes of the survivors. If you want to rush to the 4th floor, you have to risk your life, ZD said. Zhen Jin was lost in thought. If the substitute was still alive, he would definitely encourage these people, right? Not necessarily. ZD shook her head. You exposed your true identity, and his prestige fell to the bottom. It's hard for people to believe him. Lord Zhen Jin, I remember telling you many times to keep it a secret. Once you expose your identity, it will be a great loss to us. It's all my fault. At this moment, Zhenjin was extremely regretful. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Is the mana pool about to dry up? Let's hurry and open the portal first. The four of you can go first, Zhenjin said to the four Guardian Knights. The Guardian Knights were ready to move, but when they heard this, they hesitated. Because the teleportation authority was mostly in the hands of ZD, the current situation was out of everyone's control. If they escaped early, it would be a good choice to save their lives. Scab's heart sank. At present, he and ZD were in a stalemate. Although he was retreating, he still had the power to resist. Even if ZD won in the end and seized all the authority, it would take a long time. At that time, the mana pool would be completely dry, and they would not be able to teleport anyone. Scab and ZD were not willing to see this happen, so both sides had to change the situation in advance. After Zhenjin's temporary recruitment failed, the choice of the four Guardian Knights became the biggest factor that changed the situation. The Guardian Knights were in a difficult position. They wanted to live, but they also wanted credit. They did not want to deal with Zhenjin, but they also did not want to go against Scab's orders. ZD saw the hesitation of the Guardian Knights and was happy. She immediately added, "Can't you see? Father Scab has already gone crazy. Perhaps when he seized the authority, he suffered a backlash, and his mind is not clear. Actually, he is not afraid of death, because even if he dies, his soul can be summoned by the Xingming Emperor, enter the God's kingdom, and even become a heroic spirit. But what about you? Do you have such treatment? Your situation is actually the same as ours." The hesitation of the Guardian Knights became stronger. But the next moment, Zhenjin said with fear, "ZD, my good fiancé, I don't want to die. There is a standard for the soul of a believer to enter the God's kingdom. My faith in the Emperor has not reached the level of devotion. Open the teleportation gate and send me away first." ZD was stunned. When Zhenjin proposed to open the teleportation gate, ZD thought that Zhenjin wanted to calm the Guardian Knight. She did not expect that he really wanted to open the teleportation gate. Under the great pressure of death, Zhenjin revealed his true nature. His reason was being destroyed, and his strong desire to live took the upper hand. Scab and the Guardian Knight's expressions changed again. Zhenjin's panic allowed them to catch a huge flaw in ZD's side. ZD hurriedly remedied. She coldly said to Zhenjin, "My fiancé, if you leave, do you want to leave me here alone? The reason I agreed to the Tower Spirit and accepted the contract, wasn't it for our future?" Zhenjin stammered, "I will think of a way to resurrect you. I swear." ZD sneered. "Even if you can resurrect me, if I die in their hands, all the credit will go to them. Are you willing?" "My fiancé, what credit is there to talk about? Save your life first. I can see that this Scab has gone crazy. He doesn't care about his life. This is actually normal. He is not a merchant, he is a believer, a devout believer of the God of victory." Zhenjin shouted with a pleading face. ZD closed her eyes and slowly shook her head. At this moment, she was completely disappointed in Zhenjin. The Guardian Knights were ready to move again. ZD suddenly opened her eyes and sneered, "Even if you kill me, you will not be able to escape. Scab, how can I not understand your situation? You don't have any strength left. Even if I die, you will have to waste divine power and spirit to invade my authority. Do you have so much divine power? Your spirit has also been damaged in the confrontation with me. In other words, once I die, no one can open the teleportation gate." The Guardian Knights hesitated again. They wanted credit, but they wanted to live more. Scab laughed and deliberately used a loud tone to show his state. "You underestimate me too much, Miss ZD. You are just a black iron. How can you understand the silver level? I still have a lot of strength left. You're just showing how weak you are with your alarmist words. My spirit is still vigorous. My divine power can even cast a resurrection spell. But I will not resurrect a substitute. Resurrect him and let him incite the people below to attack me? I have seen through your plan long ago. The guardian knights were moved again. ZD sneered. My spirit is still vigorous? Then why are you retreating and losing your authority to me one after another? The guardian knights hesitated again. Enough. You too. I have had enough of you. Suddenly, Zhen Jin exploded. He grabbed his hair, his face flushed red, and roared, You two damn bastards, what the hell are you doing? You can obviously escape, what are you doing? Now that the mana pool is drying up, you are still not willing to retreat. Do you want to die? If you want to die, why don't you die earlier? Why don't you die on the road? Why don't you take the initiative to send yourself into the mouths of those magical beasts? Why do you still have to rush here? The longer we delay, the less credit we will get, and the less hope we have of surviving. Don't you understand this? You two idiots! Zhen Jin roared again and again, venting the anger and panic in his heart. Master Jinzhen is right. The four apologetic knights nodded their heads repeatedly and couldn't agree more. Since I am right, you four damn guys should listen to me. Don't be influenced by a few words from these two people. Zhen Jin was furious. The four apologetic knights looked at each other and then nodded to Jinzhen firmly. Scab and ZD's expressions changed at the same time. The situation took a sudden turn. Jinzhen's anger actually changed the situation. Now, his attitude and choice were the key. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.